I know
The
it.
voice of the continent. Turn it up, turn it up. African sports guy, he's on the ball. African sports guy, he stands so tall. From the pitch to the court, he's got the vibe. African sports guy, keeping it alive. African sports guy, he's on the ball. African sports guy, he stands so tall.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to African Sports Guy with my partner in crime, Pari. Sir, I'm not looking as smart as my boy. Is my boy. You see, Pari is a movie star. He makes movies. I'm a farmer. I'm just coming off the field. So in the middle of, in Shada we say cocoa, but it's actually harvesting. We're harvesting maize, commercial maize at the moment. So I'm not looking at my most imperious, glorious self. So apologies for that. But Pari looks cool for the both of us. So I said, did you not get the songs, bro? I sent you the songs, on email.
I didn't see them. I have to, or maybe I did. I thought it was a podcast, so I gotta download them again. But yeah, they're my jam, man. Every time that thing comes on, African Sports Guy.
It's a tune, bro. It's a jam, bro.
It's a
jam.
Yeah, it's fire,
bro. It's pretty funny. Like music, man. It's like the older I've gotten. Like for guys who are watching, when me and Fadi were very young, we were in a boy band. We thought we were gonna be, the next Boys to Men. Well, if you guys know what Boys to Men is, actually, I don't know if you guys know what Boys to Men is, or as we thought we were gonna be the next As Yet, Boys to Men.
Africans know who Boys to Men are. Let's be real.
Yeah. But I'm saying maybe some younger audience might not know who Boys to Men. So we thought we were gonna be the next big thing in Zimbabwe. And so I was very, very musical. But I found as I've grown up, right? My musical, like I remember when I was younger, I used to listen to everything, bro. Everything, right? Hip hop, R&B, rock, jazz, classical music, Mozart, whatever, man. Whatever vibe with me, I was part of, right? But now I'm just like in my niche, bro. I like my stuff I used to like back in the day. And Boyz II Men, Joe Thomas, them guys, I like my classical music, Mozart, Beethoven, blah, blah, blah. And then I like my Janos, and that's about it, bro. I will. And then when someone like
No. To me, Janos is kind of like to me, it's like the mix of jazz and like African beats. You know what I mean? Like to me, like Yano ticks a box where it's like it's jazzy. It's got that jazziness to it that we had, but then it also had, like heavy African influence. So to me, it hits a nerve. The first time I heard it, I was like, bro, this is what maybe I dreamt of. What it was like, the African rhythms with the jazz chords and the progressions. It's heavy. It's changed since I started getting into it, but it's still fire.
I love it, but I think you kind of have to go away from the gimmicky stuff, right? Because with Janos, there's the gimmicky stuff, right? That's just made for the club, and that's meant to be like, they like, you listen to it, you're like, it's quite there, but no. But I think Janos is essential of just like perform. That's the word. Like it's like the producer just he performs.
Who are the classics? Who are the godfathers of Amapiano? People don't understand what we're talking about. Amapiano.
There's loads. Amapiano. There's loads, man.
If we're talking about three people.
Kabza. There's four.
Obviously. Kabza.
Oh man, now you're putting me on the spot. I'll say Kabza. I'll say what's his name? Man, you just put me on the spot. I just literally
it's okay.
Just literally just.
I mean, for me, Kabza. For me, what's his name? They did the collab. They did
same thing. Soweto. I think Soweto is pretty good.
Yeah, something Soweto. He's got a different style, but yeah, something Soweto is.
Yeah.
Who's the one who did? They did the Scorpion King together. What was him? Kabza and DJ. Who's the guy? Kabza, and it was Kabza and the dark skin guy. I don't know his name.
Everybody.
Well, I mean, Kabza is like
the Capo. The Capo is another guy which is sick as well. The Capo is sick.
I should look at my playlist. I'm thinking Mapurisa, DJ Mapurisa.
Yeah, but yeah. So for me, Yeah, I think you got Kabza. DiCapo is sick. I'm such a big fan of DiCapo. Yeah.
One that I like is Gaba Canal. I like kind of his vibe. He's not as mainstream. He's probably not a godfather, but he's got a good vibe. The one who I do like is Dima something. What is his name? Dima. I know we're going on a tangent. Come on. Shevchenko. Anazani. Murumba Pitch. Murumba Pitch.
Yeah.
I was on a Murumba Pitch tip. I remember I was working on a film in Utah, and the drive to work was like maybe hour one way, hour back. Heavy rotation, Murumba Pitch. That year, I think 2018, 2019, the most 2020, 2022, most listened to track, Murumba Pitch, man. I was all about them.
You were in there.
This guy, Timtuda. I don't know how to say his name.
Oh yeah, he's good.
But yeah, no, there are a lot of classics out there. But for me, the jazzier they are. That's why I like when Kabza in particular, very musical in his progressions. It builds up. It's like a formation. If we're coming back to sports, you know what I mean? It's not just fan favorite. It's like there's a formation. There's a system to it that he's maintained. I think he's maintained. He knows his sound and he knows how to build.
Yeah,
it's like a movie for me. He really knows how to build, and the subtleties.
It's exactly like he's telling a story, right? He's telling a story. There's a beginning, there's an introduction, and then he tells you what the story is, and then it's not even so much about the lyrics really with Janos, right? So
I don't understand 90% of it. So, but the feel, man, the storytelling.
I said none. So Michael Carrick is apparently. So apparently Michael Carrick has been made the permanent manager of Manchester United. Look, if I'm saying it with a bit of a lack of energy, you're reading me right, guys. I am so depressed. So depressed, man. So depressed. And I had a long discussion last night when the news broke, right? When Fabrizio Romano broke it this morning, but it was Andy Whitwell broke it like last night. It was everywhere this morning. So this morning I had sort of a debate with my resident Man United fans, my Never Carrick videos in the comment sections, and I was just so depressed, bro. You're so depressed. Like I didn't even have the energy to clap back in anything, bro. I was so down because it's like, look, I can understand. I really do understand where people are coming from, right? Where the Man United fans are coming from, right? Like we've been starved for success for such a long time, right? But not really a long time, but what we call success, right? In terms of, because we want trophies. Since Ferguson's left, what's his name? Van Gaal won the FA Cup. Ten Hag won the FA Cup. Ten Hag won the FA Cup, right? Mourinho won the League Cup. Ten Hag won the League Cup. We won the Europa League. We've won cups, right? We have actually won trophies, like 6 or 7 trophies, right? Since in the 13 years that Ferguson has left, but we haven't won the Champions League and we haven't won the league. So for us is a cup drought, right? We're not Arsenal. So for us, that's not Arsenal now. It's superb, but the Arsenal that we used to laugh at. So 7 trophies in 13 years is not a bad haul, right? It's not bad, but it's still not. So it's a bit depressing, and so people are just desperate to cling onto something. And Carrick and Solskjaer, Solskjaer, which I think Carrick Solskjaer 2.0, right? He represents that, right? He represents that sort of clinging to Alex Ferguson's legacy, that success, hopefully that success coming back to Manchester United, right? And so I completely understand why people are excited about Michael Carrick. And also the results have been excellent. If we're not, there's no denying that the results have been excellent. But I think people are being blinded by nostalgia and they're being blinded by the results themselves. Like the style of play is awful, right? His lack of experience is evident. He doesn't want to play young players. He's too scared. Just like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was scared to make proper decisions. When players used to come up to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and say, "Look, dude, you can't be playing Harry Maguire." But Harry Maguire at that time was playing awful football, right? And he should have been benched, right? And then he'd be like, "Look, we paid 80 million for him. There's nothing really I can do." And then they make the guy captain, right? One of our West players captain. Why? Because he had a big name tag. He didn't want Ronaldo to come back. Right? He didn't want Ronaldo to come back because Ronaldo doesn't play the kind of football that we were playing at that time. Right? We were playing counter-attacking football. So he wanted fast strikers, fast wingers. That's what he wanted, right? He wanted speed. He didn't want to do any of the build-up stuff. And Ronaldo, at that age, I think it was the 38, 37, when he came back to Manchester United, he needed someone to cross the ball. He needed the build-up, right? Because his legs couldn't carry him to cover the ground quickly enough. And also, he wasn't gonna be pressing at all, right? And so, and so he didn't want Ronaldo to come back, but again, he didn't have the balls to say no, we can't have this guy. He didn't want Rafael Varane. He didn't want Casemiro. He didn't want the Dutch fielder, what's his name? Our Dutch midfielder, the guy. Sorry, what? Van der Beek. He didn't want Van der Beek, right? So there's so many things that he didn't want to happen at the club, but they just happened anyway because there's nothing he could do about it because he was such a yes man. And I'm seeing the same thing with Carrick. Next season, the guys we're gonna buy are gonna be bought by Wilcox and his boys, right? They're gonna have nothing to do with Carrick. They're gonna buy who they want. They're gonna make decisions that they want to make. They're going to do whatever they want to do at the club. And Carrick will just be a steward for the nonsense administration. And he's not going to be able to really exert himself, right? And so I just foresee the same nonsense went through for 3 years or 2.5 years with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, with Carrick. By the way, I hope that's not true. I hope it's not true. I hope he's a success. I will be the first person in sambering and dancing and admit that I was wrong. I don't care whether I'm right or wrong. I really don't care. I just want Man United to flourish, and I doubt that it's going to flourish. I don't know, Campbell, your thoughts, man. It sounds like a funeral, bro.
First of all, shout out to the statisticians, Jonah, in the background. I wish I had my own statistician with the facts, ready with the facts. Shout out to the statisticians in the house.
Dude, I had the van part. Jonah only got the big part, bro. I only got the big.
Every Dutch person is like, we all start with van. Come on now. No, jokes, guys. Jokes. Here's the thing. I agree with Simba, but for balance, I'm going to play devil's advocate.
Yeah,
right? Because there are people who watch this show who are Manchester United fans, who have hope. So what they're saying is like, Simba, who cares how long he stays? We have somebody who's winning right now. Why are we going to worry about tomorrow's tomorrow? When we had Ferguson in the beginning, we didn't know what we were getting into. It turned out to be the best era of our lives. We want to go back to that. If he's the first step to that, amazing. We will back him just like we backed Ola, just like we backed Ten Hag, because here's the thing, we are still looking for it. And because we are Manchester United fans, we will not stop in the pursuit of that. We will back you. But when you fail us, we will chop. You know it. We know it. The next guy will be online there. The reality is, if you're looking at the pool of managers that are there, we don't want to take risks, right? We're Manchester United. We don't want to take too many risks. If we have someone who's winning, we took a risk with this Portuguese guy, it failed. So why don't we go back to what we know? Why don't we go back to what we know? 18 wins, one of our own. This guy is making our players is fun. Kobe Manu found amazing form at the right time. Fernandes isn't talking about leaving. You know what I'm saying? We got a goalkeeper that can actually do the job. Like, we are looking good. Yes, it's not his credit, but still, we are looking good. We're playing well. Simba, let's enjoy it. Okay? It's a holiday. Let's enjoy our holiday, because here's the thing. The holiday will end. We all know this. What we want to do is enjoy our time. And then if it extends, all the more for it.
Hi, Seth. How you doing, bro? How's it going? Like and subscribe. Seth is my Ghanaian homie from Glad.
They must join. We need some Ghanaian, some West African flavor here. There's too much Southern African stuff here. Where are my West African brothers and sisters?
Dude, he used to cook. He cooked for me jollof, bro. I was so in love with that jollof, bro.
I'm jealous.
It was beautiful stuff, bro. Beautiful stuff. Look, I get what you're saying. I really do get the other side of it. I really, I believe me, I understand what you're saying, right? Carrick is winning, right? Why not stick with Carrick, who's winning, right? It doesn't matter what the set of football is. Let's just win the Champions League. Let's stay there. At least under Ola. You said it properly, right? I don't know. It's Ola. It's Ola, right? How did you say it? You said it quite nicely. I like the way you said it.
I just said Ola.
Yeah, Ola. Yeah, I think it's Ola.
I think it's Ole, but yeah, but
I think it's Ola. Ola. I
I
think
said
the
it
way you
with
said it was
flavor.
correct.
With flavor. I said it's Yano
Yeah,
flavor.
that flavor. Yeah, yeah. So under Ola, we finished what, second, third? I think second or third almost all the time, right? So we were there or thereabouts. Of course, we won zero trophies, nothing, nada, zero trophies, right? But we were in the Champions League, but we went out at the group stage almost every single time. But look, it's a different sort of like format for the Champions League now. You never know what can come out of it. At least we're part of, right? Oh, as a side note, by the way, the fact that we are the Champions League has gone down viewership by 25% because Manchester United were not part of, apparently. just hashtag so you know. Anyway, so we're part of the Champions League. We're going back. So look, I'm going to back him 100%. And what I hope happens is that they actually back him, right? They actually back him, right? I've got some videos scheduled to release this week. So after this week, all the videos will be positive. But this week, there's a couple of videos that are already scheduled to come out. I've already done the work, so they're going to come out anyway. So those will be my never Carrick ones, but it's done. Until it's officially announced, right? I'm living in hope. Let's put it that way. But look, my story is this, right? I think it's more of a risk with Carrick. It's more of a risk. I think there were sure things that we could have done, right? There was, there are managers out there that are more proven at this level. Carrick has never managed the Champions League ever, right? We're going to be the Champions League. Carrick has never managed a top flight football as a permanent manager. Never done it, right? He's got very little experience. So I think you're taking a huge risk with Michael Carrick. But look, it's not my money. It's not my money. So, it is what it is. And, they can always fire him in December if he doesn't do well.
Here's the thing. He's expendable, right? Like if anything, if the league has told us anything, contracts mean nothing, right? Nowadays, contracts like that, the era of your word is your bond is gone. Saying, hey, you got a 6-year contract, it's nonsense. It basically means your day to day, right? But let's go back to pro Carrick, version here. Manchester City had a B squad playing against Crystal Palace, and they were flush. They were bringing in players that, would Manchester United would love to have. So, if going forward, if you give Carrick the support, I mean, here you go. If you get Guardiola coming off your bench as a centre back, right? If you have Ake, who's your second string guy, those guys would start. Those guys would start over
for Manchester United. No, they wouldn't.
Would they not start over? What's the name of the defense?
Who would Ake send over? Look, our centre backs, right? We've got Maguire, we've got Martinez, we've got De Ligt, we've got Lenny Euro, we've got Aiden Evans.
Maguire,
and I would take
Euro, Maguire, Lenny Euro, those two.
Lenny Euro, I'll take Lenny Euro any day over Nathaniel Ake. Any day of the week, any day. In fact, the only person, right?
Guardiola.
In fact, Nathaniel Ake.
Guardiola,
what is he playing? If he's playing on the left back or right back, fine, you take him. Yeah, he starts for Manchester United. If he's playing left back or right back. But if he's playing centre back, no. Left back or right back, he starts. He starts for Manchester United if he's left back or right back.
They're spoiled because they got Nunez instead. They have Nunez, who's a midfielder playing, like the versatility of that squad.
Nunez wouldn't start for Manchester United.
You see, this is the problem that I foresee. You guys think a lot of yourself.
No, he wouldn't. Look, is Nunez better than is Nunez better than Mazraoui?
Mazraoui is suspect sometimes. Offensively, he's not giving you what you need.
You guys beat us. We beat Man City. Look, you guys beat us. We also trashed Man City.
Yeah, I know,
so it means nothing
like,
that you played us, that you beat us.
But here's the thing: if you needed help somewhere, it's two places, right? Two places in particular, right? Your midfield, right, and your defense can be sus. Like Harry Maguire should no longer be a starting. Is not a top 3 centre back. He's not.
Yeah, but neither is Nathaniel Ake.
Okay, fine, but Guardiola could be. Nunez
could be not a top 3. Nunez is a midfielder that plays right back, right?
Correct, and he's playing better there.
The literal weakness of Man City is right back or left back. That's their weakest point in the team, right? Because Nunez doesn't know how to defend. Every time we've destroyed Manchester City is because of Nunez, right?
Right.
Nunez is not better than Mazraoui. He's just not.
But what I'm saying is,
I would put him in the same ballpark as Dalot.
He's a B team. Nunez
is their starter. Nunez starts for them.
Yeah. Fine, but
you play in the final. You play in the final.
The fact that they can rotate a squad with the depth that they have, especially now, because here's the thing: in modern football, you need depth. To me, Manchester United does not have depth. So if you're coming and
No, we
Carrick
don't.
gets this
No, we
thing,
don't.
he's in. Then you say, listen, you know who I would have gone and got immediately? I've been
Who?
calling Crystal Palace saying, can I get that Wharton kid? Can I get that? What's the midfielder that they have? Like,
Adam
that's
Wharton.
who you need. You need
Yeah.
him
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
You need to say,
Yeah.
we're a top 3 team. We're back to where we are. Let's get you in there. Between him and Finance, that changes the outlook. Instead of Kobe Mainu and Finance. Mainu is fine, but Mainu does not have the vision.
So do you think
He came in and changed that game. So Anderson, Wharton, like you
Anderson's
guys
going to
should
Man
be
City?
scouted. Right. So
Anderson's going to Man
again,
City.
this is where the board, if I'm a Carrick fan, I'm like, give Carrick depth, right?
They need to support him. They need to support him,
right?
Yeah, but
because if you look at the two teams above him, Manchester City and Arsenal, those teams are stacked with depth, right? They have different squads. Bruno Fernandes needs to play nearly every game. So when you come next season, Bruno Fernandes cannot, like, you're asking too much of one person to do. So in his defense, now Carrick, we appointed you. Let's back him. Let's back him fully. Let's get him the players that he wants. Selfishly, let's get him a tactical, assistant who can come in there and help him with the tactics. But let's get him the depth. Let's be able to rotate the squad so that you can still get your B team playing and their quality team. And I don't think he doesn't have that now. Neither did
Amarin.
Ola or Amarin or Ten Hag. Like, they didn't have the depth. So and I think that's a bigger question. Is like, is this new era of savings going to allow for these people to spend? Because the money that these guys are winning, they don't want to spend money anymore, right? The new owners,
they don't have money,
and that's going to be a bigger issue.
They don't have money. They don't have money.
Be a big issue.
So here's my retort to squad depth, right? So when I look at I agree with you in principle that he should get signings. Adam Wharton will be excellent. Anderson is going to Man City. He's a Man City fan apparently, so he's going to Man City. Right? There's Beleba can come in, Tonali. They talk about Mateus Fernandes from West Ham, formerly of Southampton. So you know him well in Southampton. He was in the championship with Southampton. And then you've got João Gomez, who's also at Wolves, is also a candidate. And
we're all looking for these guys. We're all looking for these guys, the same guys.
Vital, I think it's Vital at RB Leipzig. And then there's a youngster, Brazilian, that they've just apparently who's been really linked with us as well. Just recently, I'm forgetting what his name is. So there's a lot of like central midfielders. It looks like the focus is going to be central midfield, right? That we need at least 2 or 3 central midfielders, right, in there to provide depth for the club. But here's my 2 pushbacks at the depth question. Number one, we're not going to be able to build depth over one transfer window, especially because we don't have a lot of money, right? We're not like Man City, we just damn the rules, we just buy whoever we want to buy, right? So without any consequence. Because Manchester United violates one of those rules and they're going to be sanctioned immediately. We don't know what's going to happen with Man City. Apparently, the ruling is coming in the summer, but we don't know. We've been promised a ruling for years and years and years, and nothing's happened, right? So we don't have the depth, right? We don't have the depth of players. But here's another caveat, right? Let's look at Sunderland versus Manchester United. You look at the Sunderland team, right? Man for man, player for player, we were better in every position, right? Every player, every position, we were better than Sunderland, right? And yet they played us off the park. Brentford, same thing, but they played us off the park. Leeds, again, and no offense to you, but the Man United squad is paid millions more than any of those, right? We played off the park by Leeds, played off the park by Fulham, played off the park by Crystal Palace, played off the park by West Ham, right? All these teams with worse squads, worse depth, worse players than us, right? Played off the park, right? Liverpool, even, and there were sections in the game where they've had horrendous injuries. We talk about Liverpool and their injury crisis, right? There were times when they played us off the park, right? So for me, it's like, yes, we need players, right? But I think that every coach just falls on this excuse: I need players. If you just have the right players, if you just have the right players, if you just have the right players. At some point, when are you going to coach? Right? When are you actually going to do some coaching? When are you actually going to, like what the Southampton manager does or the Leeds manager does, right? Right? Tanaka, look, Tanaka and Kobe Mainu. Kobe Mainu is paid more than Tanaka. He's more highly rated than Tanaka, and yet Tanaka played him off the park. Why? Why did Tanaka perform better for Leeds than Kobe Mainu did for Manchester United? they play similar positions. Why was Kobe Manu just chasing shadows when chasing Tanaka, right? When Tanaka came to Old Trafford with Leeds. That's my point, right? It's coaching. It's actual coaching a player. That fine, if you're one-on-one, maybe the guy might be quicker than you, might be stronger than you, might be more skilled than you are. But in terms of tactical awareness, look, this is where I'm supposed to be. Tactical discipline, this is what I'm supposed to be, right? Like just positioning the players in the right place, knowing how to rotate the players, how to rotate your squad, when to bring in young players, how to manage the squad like what Pep Guardiola manages the squad better than anybody I know, right? Better than anybody I know. And so you need to have that experience and that know-how and that nous. And that's why I feel like with the limited conditions that are at Manchester United, right? Because we've got limited money, our board is not going to give you any support because they know nothing about football. They make terrible decisions all the time, right? And so you're not going to get any help from there. The fans, fine. The fans in the stadium will love you and support you and everything. But Gary Neville, Phil Foles, all those guys, as soon as you start losing, they're going to be on your back, right? So you're going to have so much pressure. So, for a young manager, I think it's going to be too much for him. But look, good luck to him. I hope he does well. And I hope that they do support him. They need to buy him the players. Starting with midfield, I think. You have to, that midfield needs to be bolstered, right? You're right, Kobe Manu is not like he is a piece of the cog, but he is not the puzzle itself. So he does need people around him to run around, defend. We need a number 6 or 2. We need someone else that can come on and off for Kobe Manu. And that frees up people like Mason Mount and Ahmad and other players to play the number 10 when Bruno Fernandes is on the bench and is resting. Right, you can play Joshua Zirkzee, you can bring him back, you can play the number 10 as well. There's so many, Mateusz Cunha can also play in the number 10, right? So, so that frees up other players if you bolster the squad up, right? But, we'll see next season. But I think as bad as Carrick is, Jose Mourinho going to Real Madrid is worse, in my opinion.
I don't know what to think.
I think that is worse. That is worse. We've just had Jose Mourinho at Manchester United. That did not work out well for us. He was at Tottenham. That didn't work out for him at Tottenham. He couldn't do it at Fenerbahce, right? You couldn't do it at Fenerbahce. You couldn't do it at Roma. You couldn't do it at Manchester United. You couldn't do it at Tottenham. You couldn't do it at Chelsea. Fired from all those positions.
This one I don't get. Like we talked about this last week, and now the fact that it's actually happening is just ludicrous for a team in turmoil internally. With all the infighting that's going on and all these stuff, you bring in Mourinho, who's clearly past his best days, right? They're not going to rekindle the days of Raul and all like those victories. Like that's gone, right? Those years are gone. And the reality is, his resume since that time has been standard, if not poor. So this
has been very, very poor. He's won one title with Chelsea since he left Madrid. That's it.
To me,
he won one title, and then he won the Europa at Manchester United, and then he won the FA Cup, he won the League Cup at Manchester United, and then he won the Europa at Manchester United as well, and then he won the League with Chelsea, and then he should have won the FA Cup with Tottenham, but then Tottenham fired him before he had a chance to win the FA Cup, and then they lost it anyway. So
I don't understand this. I don't like Carrick. I can see, right? Carrick I can see based on like the feel good, whatever.
Yeah.
This to me is like, I don't know. Maybe he's a placeholder until they think there's a real manager out there that they can get. I don't know what they're thinking, but it just seems like such a poor choice for a club at their level. It's just such a poor choice.
It makes no sense to me, right? It makes no sense to me because the team, right, that's there at the moment, how is he going to deal with Mbappe? How is he going to deal with Vinicius, right? Just those two players alone, right? Yeah. How is he going to do? Look, because behind him, Valverde, Bellingham, Tchouameni, Camavinga.
He said things about them. Yeah. Like he's borderline, I don't want to say racist, but he said some stuff that's kind of flippant, Yeah. And it's like, so you're telling me this guy is going to then be the boss of these? Like, it's no chance. Like, it's not going to work.
Even if you take away the and you can say borderline, I'm saying, look, to say that Benfica can't be racist because you say we played for us, that's racist, right? That's like, I have a black friend, sort of nonsense, and it doesn't make sense to me, right? That's a racist comment for me. So I think call a kettle, whatever it is kettle black, whatever, right? But you take that aside, right? Vinicius is not a disciplined player, right? He's not a disciplined player, and he doesn't like being disciplined, right? That's one of the reasons why Xabi Alonso left, because he couldn't deal with Vinicius. Neither is Mbappe, by the way. Mbappe can play well, right? He wants to do well, right? Yeah. But Vinicius, if Vinicius doesn't score, I don't think he's that bothered about it, if we're being honest, right? Yeah. In a game, he just, like, even a Clasico, man, I saw him against a Clasico. He was a non-factor, bro. He was a non-entity, bro. He was a non-entity in the game. And when they lost, I don't think that it hurt him too much. I didn't think he cared that much. And so for me, Vinicius is going to be a huge problem, right? How are you going to deal with Vinicius? Are you going to sell him? What are you going to do with him? I mean, who's going to buy him, right? For the price that he's going to go at and the wages that he's going to demand, right? Certainly, Guardiola is not going to buy him. No. We can't. No. We just got rid of Rashford, bro. Why would we want Vinicius? Vinicius is a very good player at times, right? Very, very good player. He's better in terms of just talent alone. He's better than any player that we have besides Bruno Fernandes at Manchester United. He's better. He's better than Ballon d'Or and everything. But I would not have him at Manchester United. I wouldn't have him. Leeds, you guys can have him. But maybe go to Chelsea or something. But for me, how are you going to deal with that? And then Mbappe, how are you going to cover? Like, Mbappe has obvious weaknesses, right? In terms of his defensive pressing, all that kind of stuff. He doesn't want to do any of that stuff, which Mourinho wants to do. He wants to press, right? He wants to, defend, park the bus or whatever. What is he going to do? What is he going to do in that situation? So for me, like, the Real Madrid squad, they struggled under Xabi Alonso, and he is known as a disciplinarian. But he's not in the same WhatsApp group as Mourinho in terms of disciplinarian sort of style stuff, right? So, what are you going to do? And then the Madrid fans as well, they like attacking football, right? Can this Mourinho sort of... Because remember, when he came, the first time he came, he had Benzema, he had Bale, he had Ronaldo, he had great players, right, in there that played Marcelo, them guys that played great offensive football, right? And then remember, he had Ronaldo and he had Pepe, who were two of his confidants. They were both Portuguese, and they loved him, right? And so they were like his ambassadors in the dressing room. I don't know how this guy is going to score it. I just don't know. And for me, it's a perplexing decision. Because remember last week, we talked about a couple of players. We talked about Pochettino. It's a possibility. He's much better than... I'd rather have him over Mourinho. Roberto Martinez is another one. Even, what's his name? Iriola, the guy's coming out of Bournemouth. Iriola is available, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, he's inexperienced, but he's far better than Jose Mourinho right now, right? So for me, it's like, there's a few guys, I don't know, man, like, get Pochettino, bro. What's wrong with Pochettino?
For me,
or Thomas Tuchel, or even Nagelsmann.
But here's the thing, like, all those guys, I don't know about Nagelsmann. He's no longer with Germany, right? Where is he now? I don't know where he is.
He's in Germany, but he's a national team coach, right? So after the World Cup,
three of those guys.
He's not married. He's not married to that job, bro. Bro. You can get it. Yeah, Roberto Martinez is with Portugal. Pochettino is with the USA, and Nagelsmann is with Germany. You can easily get them out of those contracts.
So here's the thing: if you're a manager, we are. You at least are a sports pundit. I'm just your sidekick. But even I can see that Real Madrid is a disaster, right? In terms of like you as a manager going there trying to manage the front two, right? In terms of Vinicius and wow, how am I forgetting his name? Vinicius. I was going to say Henri, but it's not Henri.
It's Mbappe.
Vinicius and Mbappe alone, right? Because that means you have basically a 9-man defensive squad. You know what I mean? Like, so you're playing defense with 9 people. You're losing out on those 2 up front. Their attitudes, their egos are like immense, And then you have obviously the midfield issues with Valverde and Camavinga and all these things going on. Jude Bellingham, who probably wants to be on a team that's not, like he probably wants to be the main guy. You know what I mean? It's not.
He's one of those working hard. He gets so pissed. You see how pissed off Jude Bellingham gets at Vinicius in particular, right?
Right.
And then you've got the young players like Diaz and what's his name? Diaz and what's the Portuguese guy, the Turkish guy? Those guys like young players.
Oh yeah.
So for me, it's like.
I can see.
So for me, it's like it's perplexing. It's perplexing, man.
Because especially I think they're looking for a bandage. I think they're looking for someone to stop the bleeding, right? They're looking for someone safe. They can be like, listen, it's triage. The term triage. It's like you're in the middle of Hondo. You just need triage. You just need someone to come and put a tourniquet on it, limp your way out of the danger zone and then figure it out. This guy, in my opinion, will cause more problems than good. Him being mixed in with this thing, Oda Gula is the young guy. Oda Gula, like him
Gula.
mixed in with these young guys who are trying to basically be like, we need these old guys to do defense. These older guys, the front two are like, we're just here to be like, we're scorers. That's what we do. I mean, you need someone you need like buy-in, company. You need a company type who comes in there can be like, okay, guys, like I'm gonna set the tone. Mourinho's tone is he's just proven how not
capable he is. Look, and Real Madrid is a monster, but like did you hear that they're told to walk home? They were told to walk home.
Who?
After the Clasico. For the players. Yeah, they had to find their own way cabin. There was no bus. They had to jump in taxis and jump out of the stadium and then get on a plane, buy a plane ticket themselves and go back to Madrid.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Well, you're going to then try to get somebody with the same mindset, right? Because then Mourinho is going to come with that same mindset. It's not going to work in his favor.
It's madness, bro. But in Africa, my dad always says something. Because in Africa, there's always a cheap version of something, right? So, let's say you've got your tire's out, for instance. You can go. There's plenty of tire places around the corner that will patch up that thing for you. Easy, right? Cheap, $2, $2. Dope, right? But my dad says you always pay for that. You pay for that cheap option. You pay for it because it only lasts for a moment, and then the outcome will be worse than if you had just gone and gotten it properly done, and you end up spending way more money, right? Than actually just going to a proper fitness center, getting your tire fixed properly, or replacing. Just do the thing that you're meant to do in the first place, right? You end up paying more for it later, right? And my dad always says that. And it took me a long while to listen because it's so tempting, right? You got like, you go to, because in Zim, you got like huge price fluctuations, right? So on the street, it could be like $2 for something. And then you go into a shop, it's like $30 or $100. Same thing, right? But the thing that's $2 is it's not gonna last very long. And then you end up having something going wrong, and then you end up having to fix that thing and get a new part anyway. And so that's the thing I'm thinking what's happening with Jose Mourinho and Michael Carrick, right? These are just silly little fixes, right? That are meant to be like, go get the guy. Go get that person that you believe is going to be the manager. Real Madrid is the biggest. Real Madrid and Manchester United are meant to be the two biggest clubs on this planet in terms of fans, right? In terms of trophy, Real Madrid is up there. In terms of trophies, I don't think anybody's won more, right? But in terms of actual fans and the size of the club and revenue, Manchester United and Real Madrid are meant to be the biggest clubs, right? Why are they begging? There should be a line around the corner of coaches wanting to coach Manchester United. And if there isn't, act like there is. Act like there is. Fake it until you make it, right? Go in there and get Luis Enrique. I'm talking about Manchester United here. Why can't you get Luis Enrique out of PSG? Go there and say, look, dude, we're Manchester United, bruh. We're the biggest team on earth. If you win here, it's different from winning at PSG, right? If you're the Real Madrid guy, go to the guy that you want. Don't have an don't go to OD, a manager that was amazing 15 years ago in terms of if you want Zidane, go and talk to Zidane, right? If you want Klopp, go and get Klopp. Sit down with Klopp and talk to him. Look, dude, come through. This is our project. This is what we're doing. We're Real Madrid, bro. It's not Liverpool, bro. This is Real Madrid. Come and coach our club, bro. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, it just seems like they're just taking the easy way out. It's like a cop out, and they should really be going for best in class. The best that they can get, go and get that guy. There's no need for us to do interim nonsense.
I think, and you're a fan of a big club, right? So I think, fans of big clubs might fall under the same illusion, which is your name carries you for a certain amount of time, but your resume speaks louder. So let's look at a team that was a team in a sport that is synonymous with a sport, the Chicago Bulls, right? The Chicago Bulls dynasty, right? When you think basketball, you think Chicago Bulls. You think LA Lakers, right? You think some people
Celtics.
Boston, right? Celtics, right? But look at all those three teams, right? They are not the teams that are in this era. We're in a different era, and that's I think what people who love their teams and have to take into account. when you're in a different era, going to Luis Enrique and saying, this is Manchester United. Luis Enrique will look at you and be like, bro, Manchester United was the league, was football for the longest time. It's not where it was. And here's the thing. I don't really want to leave where I'm at, where I'm in a good place, to then rebuild this village. It's like Great Zimbabwe was once this amazing metropole with all this technology, and then it's a ruin now, right? It's a museum. To many of these guys, people go there thinking this is a museum. Manchester United was, you know what I mean? Real was, and these owners or these people are being like, I invested in this because I invested in the mansion. And I don't want to put any more money because what I invested should be enough. No one's telling them, listen, bro, it's a ruin. It's a shadow of what it was. And here's the thing: good managers, good coaches aren't going to be lining up to do that because they can see it for what it is now in this era. They can see the hard work that it's going to take. They can be like, bro,
but that's the
I know
whole
it's
point,
Manchester United on paper. I know the sticker.
No,
that's the challenge. You want the challenge. You want the challenge.
No, that's not even the point, right? The point is that's not the point at all. The point, I'm not saying that Manchester United is Real Madrid doesn't put in the same category as Manchester United.
Hold on. Your mic is waffling.
All right. Can you hear me?
I can hear, it's a bit choppy, but maybe it's just my side. I can hear you.
Okay, cool. I was saying, Kuti, Real Madrid, right? Literally win the Champions League final like just a year ago, right? So like Real Madrid haven't faded into the dust. They're still a huge club. They're the biggest club on earth. They've been winning left and center. Yeah, they're always winning. Manchester United, right? I would say this is the thing, right? To this day, right? That's the challenge I would put to our coaches, right? And yes, I would say, look, why did you get into coaching, right? You can stay comfortable, right, at Bayern Munich, or like for instance, Guardiola at Bayern Munich, or Luis Enrique at PSG, right, where you win the league every single season without fail, right? Every single. Nobody cares about what Pep Guardiola did at Bayern Munich. Nobody cares.
I've lost you. Now the mic has died. In response to that, and kind of just prefacing off that, here's my 2 cents. The era has changed. There was Fergie era, Manchester United.
1 2 1 2 1 2.
I can hear you. There was Fergie era, Manchester United, and then there was the Pep era. And in many ways, the Pep era has outshadowed, right, what Manchester United were before, right? Like kids are gonna grow up being like, which is the best team in Manchester? And the answer to them is going to be Manchester City because of the era that Pep has had.
Because they're kids.
Exactly, but here's the thing: their revenue.
Ferguson won 13 league titles. Pep has won 6. So let's park the bus there.
But here's the thing:
Ferguson's won more than double what Pep has won, right? More than double. So let's just park the bus there a little bit. Let's park the bus.
It's the era, Simba. Look, because here's the thing:
that's why Manchester still has empty stadiums even today, man. Look, it's to this day. You go to a Manchester United, it's not difficult to get a Manchester City ticket. It's not. The stadium's empty, bro. They're winning all these trophies, and the stadium is empty. There's nobody there. Nobody wants. So it's not even a question of who's the. Look, the better team is Manchester City. They've been the better team for the past decade, right? They've been the better team by far, not even comparable, right? They've been in Champions finals. They've won one. They've won like FA Cups all the time. They won leagues all the time. They are the better team. But in terms of like the biggest team in Manchester is easily Manchester United, right? Even if you just take Manchester itself, just Manchester itself, right? Even when we were finishing 15th, bro, stadium was still full. And Manchester's was still empty. Manchester City's was still empty, right? So that's not even a debate.
But here's the thing.
Here's my point. Look, my point is this: there are two types of managers, right? In terms of when you talk about top tier managers, right? There's your Guardiolas, right? Who want easy wins, right? So they want to go to a club with a lot of money, right? That's already one staff that's at the top, and all you're doing is just putting the cream on top of the cake, right? And that's where I classify Pep Guardiola. Because we went to Barcelona. Barcelona was a little bit of a challenge, right? But they just won the treble literally the season before. That season they weren't doing well, but the season that they were coming out of, they won the treble. They won everything that you could possibly win in football. They had Ronaldinho, they had Rivaldo, they had Eto'o, Messi was coming up, Iniesta, Xavi, Busquets, all these guys, right? So he came and took over, cream of the crop, and then he made them far better than they were before, right? He made them one of the best teams ever to play football, right? So let's not give him his props. He goes to Bayern Munich, who were top of the league, won the treble, and again had all the money in the world, were dominating, right? And he didn't do much different than what the other guy was doing. Then from there, he went again to Man City, who had just won the league, who had all the money in the world. So, fine, if Luis Enrique is that type of manager, then Manchester United is not the job for him. It's not, just not. Then he might as well go to Real Madrid or go back to Barcelona or come to Man City. Right? Those are the clubs that he's going to, or Bayern Munich, those are the clubs that he's going to be coaching. But the other managers, like Sir Alex Ferguson, like Ancelotti, like Capello, like Cruyff, like Van Gaal, the majority of managers, they want to leave a legacy, right? They relish the challenge, say, look, this giant that was once a giant, not so long ago, only 10 years ago, by the way. As I said, we won 7 trophies in these 13 years, 7. So like we've been barren for 7 years, not part of. We've won FA Cups, we've won League Cups, we've won Europa Leagues. We've actually been winning trophies, right? We've been winning trophies. We're in the Europa League final literally last season, in the European final literally last season, right? So it's not like we were some club that was a yesteryear club that is completely utterly irrelevant, right? We're not that. We're not Liverpool, or what Liverpool was before they started winning again, right? We're not that. We've been winning things, but we haven't won the big stuff like the league and the FA Cup, the Premier League and the Champions League. We just haven't won those two, right? We haven't even been close to winning those two in the past 13 years. Not even close, right? We haven't even been relevant in those discussions. So for us, it's a failure. For a big club, it's a failure, right? So a top manager like the Wengers, like the Fergusons, right? They want a challenge. I'll go for it.
I'm listening.
Right? They want a challenge, right? And that's the pitch that you give to Jurgen Klopp and them guys. That's the pitch. Because when Jurgen Klopp went to Liverpool, right? Liverpool was in a by far worse situation than Manchester United is. They had won for 20-something years, not just 13, right? 20-something years, almost double, right? What Manchester United had been through. They'd won nothing, right? For years and years and years and years and years. And they were just celebrating, just finishing the top 4, like what we're doing right now. So when Jurgen Klopp took over, right, Liverpool, right, and when he took over Borussia Dortmund, by the way, when they were also in the doldrums, right, he could have gone to Bayern Munich, he could have gone to these big, but he didn't. He wanted a challenge because he wanted to leave a legacy. And so that's what you do. You find managers, top-tier managers that are like that. And I have a feeling that Luis Enrique is like that because he went to Roma, he went to Celta Vigo, he took on the Spanish job when he didn't have to, right? He went and he built those teams. So I've got a feeling someone like a Luis Enrique, if you approach him properly, like a Julian Nagelsmann, because he was at Leipzig, he was at Hoffenheim, there's all these clubs where you need to put things up. You go to these top-tier managers and you say, guys, this is the challenge. Because it's true today as it was 13 years ago. If you win at Manchester United, it's different from winning at PSG. It's just different.
So
because we've got hundreds of millions of more fans than PSG does.
Okay, but here's
just do.
I think what you said works in my favor and in my argument, which is you what you're saying, what I'm hearing you saying is you want someone with ambition, right? You want someone who's not afraid of a challenge. You want someone who runs to the fire, not away from it, right? You want somebody who, is their own person and wants to prove themselves. Why would you go to a team that you'll always be seen as the second best? If you have ambition, why would you want to go to Manchester United? The throne has already been taken by Sir Fergus Alex. So why? That's what I'm saying. Go to Liverpool. Go to Chelsea. Go somewhere else. Because you're always going to be in the shadow. That's what I'm saying. Klopp went to Liverpool because
I'm saying, but if you go to Liverpool right now, there's Klopp.
He could put a statue.
There's Bill Shankly.
That's what I'm saying.
There's Klopp. There's Bob Paisley.
This is what you're proving my point. There is no incentive for an ambitious manager to go to Manchester United to only be the number 2 or number 3 manager in their illustrious history. There's nothing.
But every big club has got that. But every big club, like Real Madrid, they've got Zidane, they've got Di Stefano, they've got all these huge managers.
Else. Because here's the thing, that's less of a challenge.
All of the big clubs have got huge.
Simba, you just told me Klopp went to Liverpool because they hadn't been there in 20 years. Go somewhere. Go to a Leeds. Go to go somewhere else and prove yourself. Because here's the thing: there's no point in going to Manchester United saying, "I am the one who brought them back." You're always going to be in the shadow of Sir Alex.
That'll be huge.
They'll never call it
That would be
Enrique time.
massive.
They'll never. If you're ambitious, Simba, if you are ambitious, you don't want to be said, you're all right, but you're like small house. You're always going to be the small house when it comes to Manchester United. So they'll be like, you know what?
But it's every club
I'm
like
going to
that.
go somewhere else.
Club is like that.
I'm going to go. Yeah, I know, but I'm saying is like Fergie.
Unless you go to a club that has never won anything.
Before Klopp, right? The looming shadow was well removed, right? They had been in
by like 20-something years.
There you go.
But Ferguson is what, 13 years ago, 13, 14, 15 years ago.
And that is the problem. I don't know if you hear what I'm
saying.
It's a long
time ago.
It is not, because Fergie's aura, right? For what would be 10 years or 20 years for one team is going to be 30 years to 35 years for Manchester United. Because
so what you're saying is that any manager of any sort should not come to Manchester United for the next 50 years or 100 years, because Ferguson was one
kind of manager you want. The kind of manager you want, who's ambitious and wants to leave a mark and wants to prove everybody wrong, is not. If I want to be number one and I want my statue in front of the house, if I want my statue in front of the building, right? If that's the kind of ambition that I have as a manager, right? I want them to laud my statue. Manchester United is not an appealing job. I'm sorry, because you have Bobby Charlton, right? But he's still in the shadow.
Louis van Gaal, the manager that I'm talking about, is Louis van Gaal, right? And he came to Manchester United literally 2 years after Ferguson left.
Right.
2 years after Ferguson left, right?
But he came to Manchester United. Like, let's be real, Simba. Let's be real.
Look. He came to Manchester. Look, it doesn't. That stuff doesn't matter. That stuff doesn't matter. Like being in the shadow.
If
Ferguson was still ambitious. Ferguson's not on the board. He's not running things. He's literally just an old guy in the stands, right? He's really a guy. And by the way, when Ferguson came to Manchester United, there was what's his name? Busby, Sir Matt Busby. Literally, the road leading to the stadium is called Sir Matt Busby Way, right? As in, you're walking into the stadium, right? The statue is there, right, at Old Trafford. So, Mr. Matt Busby, and he was 50 years back, but the Busby Babes, they literally have movies of that happening all the time, right? So it's a huge thing, right?
You hear the time difference.
But it's a huge thing. It's a huge thing. But what I'm saying to you is like, any ambitious, the pitch that you give to an ambitious manager is this, right? Is that, look, if you win at Manchester United, you become an absolute legend today, right? So look at when we beat Man City and when we beat Arsenal, right? Look at how the internet was just literally flooded by Manchester United fans and people getting annoyed. Like, guys, it's like you won the World Cup. What? It's just one of those things. There's so many fans. If you win at Real Madrid,
if I'm an ambitious coach and you give me that pitch, hey, if you win here, it's going to be important. My answer to you would be like, my guy, I'd have to win 25 trophies to be relevant.
No, you just have to win one
against all these other people.
No,
you don't.
Just one.
You don't have to win one.
You win the league at Manchester United. Just one. If you are the one who wins the league at Manchester United.
I am ambitious.
Just one.
I am ambitious. I don't want the league. I want to be the greatest manager the team has ever seen. I'm not going to Manchester United.
Yeah.
Again, until another 15 years. You need to go another 15 years before this.
So which top club, which top club, right? Which top club? Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Manchester United, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, right? Barcelona. Which top club can you go where you will be the best manager ever right now? Which club can you go to?
Where is Luis Enrique?
He's at PSG. PSG is not a big club.
Right. Yeah, but here's the thing: they're winning quadruples. They're doing this.
No, but
if he keeps doing that consistently, he makes them a big club. That's the difference.
The only thing he gets credit for is not the quadruple. The only thing he gets credit for is winning the Champions League. That's it. They don't care if he wins the La Liga. They don't care.
Yeah, but
Pochettino won La Liga. Nobody cared. Pochettino won the La Liga, right? Liga. And Ancelotti won Liga. Nobody cared, right? They don't care. They only measure stuff at, like, if you had Bayern Munich, the only thing they care about is how many Champions Leagues did you win, right? You can win as many leagues as you want, but if you don't win the Champions League, nobody gives a damn, right? But Bayern Munich is really none. What I'm saying is that according to your
right now, Luis Enrique is set for a second Champions League final.
Yeah.
So he could go back to back. Let's say he does it again next year. That's 3 in a row. Let's say it goes 4 in a row. Then he makes PSG a relevant club. Then he puts his statue in front of that building and he makes French football something to be reckoned with.
The statue is already at the front of the building. He's stretched the the further building because he's won their one and only Champions League. He's won their one and only Champions League.
You're then putting him. If he wins a second against Arsenal, comes back next year, wins a third, you have to take him seriously. Right. And this is my point. If you're an ambitious guy, this is where
let's take Luis Enrique out the board, right? Any other manager who's ambitious, which club can you go to according to your criteria, Farid? Which club can you go to according to your criteria where you want to be overshadowed by the greats? Which one?
Chelsea. Right now, Chelsea.
Mourinho won 4 league titles in a row, right?
Yes.
They won the he won the Champions League there. Right? Mourinho is the best manager in their history, right? So how can you now? So you've been in the shadow of Mourinho.
That's what I say. Yes,
you've been in the shadow of Mourinho.
Right. Yes, but here's the thing: Mourinho's shadow is not what Alex Ferguson's is, and you know it because Alex Ferguson isn't coming. He didn't have to come back and coach Tottenham and coach Manchester. He didn't have to get all these other teams.
Look, I don't agree with you, Chelsea. I don't agree with you, Chelsea. No, two teams. He won the league. We had 2 iterations of winning the league twice.
But no, what I'm saying is he did it with one team. He didn't go to 3 or 4 different clubs to be like, I did it at Real, I did it at Chelsea. I'm trying to get a job at Tottenham. I'm trying to get a job at Roma.
No, Mourinho won. No, Mourinho won the Champions League at Porto. Mourinho won at Porto, the Champions League, the Europa League, and won a couple of leagues at Porto. Then he went to Chelsea. He won a span of league titles, FA Cups, all that kind of stuff. Then he went to Inter Milan. He won the treble, Inter Milan, right? The league, the Champions League, and in Italy. Then he went to Real Madrid, and he won again. He won the league. He won the league there, and loads of Copa del Rey. Then he went back to Chelsea. Then he won the league at Chelsea, right? Again, he won the league at Chelsea, right? So Mourinho is a huge figure.
The fact that we're laughing about him getting you're watering down.
It's like if Alex Ferguson came back now, you laugh at him still.
Here's the thing,
you still laugh at him now if he came back now.
Alex Ferguson was smart because he did it with one club and he did it successfully and he dominated, right? He didn't water down.
He also won at Aberdeen. He won the Captain's Cup at Aberdeen as well.
Mourinho has watered down his brand. So this what I'm saying still lasts. Which is greater? Trying to get Manchester United and be the second thing or Mourinho? It's easy to get past Mourinho because Mourinho's watered his brand down. So he's not this thing for Chelsea. Yes, he did amazing things and he was a huge thing for Chelsea. But Mourinho's still, he's watered his thing.
I think we're going around in circles here. I think, I get your point, but I fundamentally disagree with your point because I think that criteria, maybe Chelsea is a bad example.
Let us know.
Because Chelsea is historically Chelsea is not a big club, right? They've only been successful in the past sort of 20 years. But let's say the guys will be successful for hundreds of years, right? So for like 100 years. So the Arsenals who have legendary managers, Real Madrid who have legendary managers, Barcelona, Manchester United, right? Man City now with Guardiola, right? PSG now with Luis Enrique. Any of those big clubs, you'd be the shadow of a great manager. Any of them, right? So if that is a mitigating factor, then none of those big clubs would ever get a manager. None of them would ever.
No.
Here's the thing. I think that's. I don't agree with the point there.
Here's the thing. My final point for this, because we're 58 minutes in. My final point to this, right?
Go for it.
Is that this idea of historically big clubs, right, is a thing of a bygone day. Yes, there are clubs that have been successful for 100 years, but they've not consistently been successful. And this idea of like the bigs is an idea that's rooted in the beginning of the Premier League when it was coming. If we're talking about big clubs, I'm a fan of a big club, but it's no longer relevant in the new world. So what I'm saying is that the world of big clubs and small clubs, 100 years of winning or whatever, that someone has to go out the window because of people like Pep who come in and do a different era, who bring their club into prominence. And you might be right, their stadium may not be as full as the neighbor's stadium in the same city, but they are now a big club. And the fact that in a decade you can take a club that was in obscurity and make it a big club means the value of a big club fundamentally changes.
No. Fari.
Next topic.
No. You got to end this. Man City, you're slandering Manchester. Yeah.
I'm not.
Money, Mula. Money made Manchester City a big club. They had already won the league. They already won the FA Cup. They were already relevant. They already had Robinho and all these big players and Tevez and Aguero. All of these people were there before Pep Guardiola came to them. He came to Man City because they had money, because they were successful. So don't give Pep Guardiola that matter of making Man City. Man City was because of money. Same thing with PSG again.
It's
money.
Still considered
it's
a
money.
big club. They're both considered big clubs.
Look, it's a successful club. It's a successful club.
We have to be in the era we're in.
Yeah.
It's a different era.
But look, the past. Let's take past 20 years, for instance. Let's not go 20 years. Let's go 10 years. And who's won the Champions League, for instance, in the past 10 years, other than a big club?
Mostly big clubs. It makes sense because they have the most money. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, there you go.
You're talking about finances. You're right. It's finances.
So what I'm saying, I'll probably say Man City is the only one that's won it in the past couple of years, right? That hasn't been a big club. It's not like traditionally a big club.
But the big clubs are big clubs because of their fan base. Manchester United having the biggest fans in the world.
That's my point with Manchester United. That's my point with Manchester United, right? Then regardless of our lack of success, right? And I said relatively lack of success because I think compared to the Real Madrid and Bayern Munich and other big clubs, right? Manchester City, I guess, we haven't been successful. But I mean, according to the rest of the world, we've been very successful.
Relevant.
So according to those, according to that metric, we are relevant.
You want to be relevant.
25%. Champions League revenue has gone down. Viewership has gone by 25% because Manchester United is not part of it.
But that's fiscally relevant. That's not competitively relevant.
No, but football is about the fans, Fari. It's about the fans. And if your club has, for instance, let's take it to American football. No matter how much you hate the Dallas Cowboys, no matter how much you hate the Yankees, they have the biggest fan base, right? Most people, especially for America's team, right?
Here's what I'm telling you. They're not relevant.
They're relevant because they have the most fans, and that's why even though they haven't won anything in 20-something years, on every single talk show in America, they are discussed. People talk about them, right?
Yeah, you know why?
They have some of the biggest, highest ratings when they're there. All these things. Why? Because they have the most fans, and sports is about the fans. It's about the fans, bro. That's what sports
America is about storytelling. That's a story that they told. The Cowboys are writing that story into. You know what they've started doing? They started changing.
They have the most fans, don't they?
Right? Here's the thing about. It doesn't matter because here's the thing. They've started scheduling games. Thanksgiving was always Cowboys. They've been so poor that they've started changing the schedule. That tells you that the revenue people, are seeing that they're not relevant anymore. The people don't want to watch. They want to watch Kansas City. Right? They want to watch like the Seahawks. Teams that are not relevant are still performing better.
I don't know about Seahawks.
You can always. They just won the world.
I don't know about Seahawks. I don't know. That's not a very basic team.
Competitively relevant than the Cowboys have been for the past.
They are, but then Cowboys have the most fans. They do have the most.
I know, but here's the thing. And also, good stuff only gets you so far. Feel good wins only get you so far.
Look, they have the most fans. Just like the Lakers and the Celtics. Why are we always talking about the Lakers and the Celtics? Right? They have the most fans. Why do we talk about the Yankees? Even if the Yankees haven't won the World Series, but the Yankees do win periodically. They win regularly, right? But
it's even when the Yankees are going towards
a better, exactly, because they're the most fans. It's South Africa. It's South Africa, right? It's South Africa right now. South Africa, right? Kaizer Chiefs and the Orlando Pirates suck. They don't suck, but they're like fourth around there. They haven't really been like amazing, right? Sundowns has just been winning left, right, and center. But when you go to TV viewership, which is the most watched match, it's always the Soweto Derby. It's always Kaizer Chiefs versus Orlando Pirates because they have the most fans, right? They have the most fans. So those are the two biggest teams in South Africa. Sundowns literally has three teams. They have one team for the Champions League, one team for cups, one team for they have so much money. They win all the time. Sundowns, right? It's like Mamelodi Sundowns. They win all the time, and yet nobody cares. Like nobody really cares because they don't have, they don't really have a lot of fans.
Nostalgia is a strong drug. I'll say
same thing with Man City.
Is a strong drug.
Same thing with Man City. No matter how many cups they win, right? So, for instance, I'll give you another example. Like, I'm joking about the 25% thing. It's a joke, but the viewership has gone down a bit, right? They had gone down a bit because Manchester not part of, right? And one of the reasons why they changed the format of the Champions League, by the way, one of the reasons why because teams were like, guys, we don't want to watch AC Milan versus Cluj, right? Even though Cluj might be a better team than Manchester United or whomever, right? We don't want to watch. Nobody watches those games, right? But if it's AC Milan versus Bayern Munich, you got hundreds of millions of people watching that game, right? Regardless of how poor AC Milan has been over the years, right? Because it's a huge club with a huge fan base. And so that's what sports is about. Sports is about fans. You need to cater to us. That's why Manchester United will always be relevant. always, all the time, right? That even if we're finishing 13th or 15th, we're still front page news in England. We're still front page news everywhere, right? Liverpool, as annoying as they are, right? Regardless of what they Leeds in the championship, people still look at Leeds like what's happening with Leeds, because Leeds, Nottingham Forest, they are huge clubs. They have huge fan bases, right? And so even if Leeds is in the championship, you got guys in America, i.e. you, right, watching Leeds, right, and they Leeds fan clubs and stuff like that, because Leeds is a massive club. Like just a couple of decades ago, they were in the freaking Champions League semi-final, almost like that, with Lee Boyer and Harry Kewell and the lads, and Rio Ferdinand and forgetting with the Alan Smith and Lucas Radebe, and then they were literally such a big, huge team until they did their financial shenanigans, and that they went that way.
Nostalgia is a strong drug. Nostalgia is a strong drug.
Still is Nottingham Forest.
And here's the thing: I'm a fan of these because of nostalgia, but the reality also is that my team wasn't relevant, and the performances is what matters. You know, because I can be nostalgic all I want, but if we don't stay up, okay, we just go back down. In fact, like performances matter. You have to be relevant on the pitch, not just in memory.
Look, you have to be, right? But I think Liverpool has proven that you can go through 20-something years without winning anything significant and still be relevant, right? Because
nostalgia is strong. No, they're relevant now because they're playing well. Yeah. And they piggyback
even
on the relevance.
Before Klopp, right? They hadn't won a Premiership title ever. They hadn't won a Premiership title, right? Leeds had won a title before Liverpool had, up until Klopp, right? Leeds had been like in 1992 was that had won a league.
I think it was, but I don't know if that was a Premier League. I thought it was. It
wasn't a Premier League. It was still the first division. But Liverpool hadn't won any of the first a league title since the 70s or the 80s, whatever it was, right? So Leeds had won more recently than Liverpool had. But still, Liverpool versus Liverpool was still a massive game.
Yeah, but you know the geography of England. The geography of England is big cities, right? So like they needed a big city. Liverpool is one of the founding things. It's even the second city in their town. Everton came before Liverpool, but it's like regional. So that town needed. It's like saying Boston needed a win. You know what I mean? The first title for a city. There's more to that than saying Fulham. You know, how many teams are there in London?
Look. I think let's actually move on now. Let's actually move on because
this is why they watch us. They want these discussions.
Anyway, did you watch the Arsenal West Ham game at all?
Yes.
I just really want to talk about the end, the foul, because you said something very, very interesting. Right? Do you think there's a conspiracy? Like a lot of people are saying that the conspiracy that the Premier League wants, because there's a video of David Dean, right, a couple of seasons, like in preseason, saying that he doesn't want the same teams winning the league all the time, right?
Yeah.
And so a lot of people are piggybacking off that comment, right, and saying that's why the referees made that decision for Arsenal, right? But I think it's the other way around. I think it was against West Ham rather than for Arsenal, because the league doesn't want Tottenham to get relegated, right? Because of the revenue that Tottenham brings to the league. So I think that's more. I think it's not Arsenal winning. It's more like Tottenham not getting relegated. I think so. What do you think?
Okay. My point is, my thing is, we're taking something and we're giving meaning to it. You know what I mean? Like we saw an event, and we're giving it meaning based on our perspective. What I think is that the referees are being given a hard time about all the shenanigans that go on in the box and corner kicks. And the fact that the goalkeeper was fouled was the main factor. If he wasn't close to getting the ball, he was over his head and he was fouled, I think they would have been like, you know what? There was a ton of fouls that happened in there. But because it was part of what happened.
It was a foul. I think nobody's arguing that it was a foul.
So that's what I'm saying. It's not in my mind, it's not a conspiracy. It's a fact that
it is a conspiracy though. Because that call hasn't been given. Look, if you look at, I'll give you so many games. The first game of the season against Arsenal versus Manchester United, Gabriel holds the hand of Biandia. He did exactly the same thing that happened to Raya, happened to Biandia. Then Saliba scores 1-0. VAR doesn't even look at it; they don't care, right? Recent memory, but Arsenal have done this over and over and over and over and over and over and over, right? In terms of fouling the goalkeeper. But like there's like 10, 15 examples of it. And none of it was called. Not one was recorded. There's even one where the guy literally falls, like Saliba literally falls on the goalkeeper. Not only does he drag his hand, he literally falls on the goalkeeper, brings him down, and then someone else scores, and the referee's like, nah, it's a goal, right? And then you look at just recently against Chelsea, Declan Rice is literally got his hands around him. Like we even talked about it, by the way, on the podcast. Mm-hmm. Remember, we talked one of the first things we talked about, right? When Declan Rice held was it James or João Pedro? It's a famous picture of him literally holding the guy, fouling him, and then he has a handball on top of that, right? And nothing was given. So the complaint is not that was, yes, it was a foul. I think nobody can argue with that. Literally, the guy's, whatever. But at the same time, Declan Rice was resting someone to the ground. At the same time, Supermedi was resting someone to the ground. There was also fouls happening in there, right? So the question is, why now? And why is the referee now calling that? It was understood, right? It was understood before that this stuff was just anybody could just do whatever you wanted in the box. But now suddenly, the first time the whole season, they've called it. First time the whole season. Why?
Simba, here's the thing. The reason that I'm probably not a good person to have a conversation with this about is because I don't believe that there's a conspiracy between the like I don't believe that the refs are in a conspiracy. I do believe that they are inconsistent with their rulings, as we've talked about on this show, with the pulling of their hair and your guy getting a red card. Like there is clear inconsistency. When VAR calls, when VAR doesn't call, there's a systemic problem that the referees have to figure out. But do I think it's a conspiracy? Absolutely not. I think it was a call that sometimes.
Sorry, your point you'd have a point if it was sometimes they called them, sometimes they didn't. They haven't called them at all the entire season, right? Let me give another interesting fact. Do you know that Brighton hired an MMA star to coach them in grappling? Do you know that? Brighton, Albion, like an MMA guy. But that's how rough it was in there. And by the way,
the game has changed.
Since they hired him, right? Since they hired the MMA guy, right? They haven't, because they've conceded very, because they're the guys conceding the most, and they hired a guy to help them with grappling, right? And then that really helped them out tremendously. So imagine in football when you have to hire a grappling coach, an MMA star, to teach you how to like destroy owns in the box. That's how little it was being called. It was not being called at all. So the question is, Farita, if you can answer me that question, Anga, why now? Why this occasion? Why? They've ignored the whole season. Why now?
Here's the thing, Simba. You can't. That's how conspiracies happen. Is because you say it's just this one time that they've noticed. It's just this one time that Calvin's hair was pulled. And
no, the Calvin-Lewis thing
is like you're taking inconsistencies and seeing a pattern.
But it's not completing my question with the other stuff that's happening. I'm still very specific about about the corners. They haven't been calling it the entire season. They haven't. Not one foul. They let it go. Not for only for Arsenal, for Chelsea, for Man United. Every team leads as well. Everybody does whatever they want in the box.
I said this.
Why today? Why this match? Why this match?
I said this last week. You can never walk through the same river twice. So if you're then saying, look at all this that came before.
My question, though.
That is the question. That is the answer.
You can't answer. You're not answering. You're being very political. You're being very American. You're very American politicians.
Why did they call a foul a foul? Is that what you're asking me? Why did they call a foul a foul?
I'm saying that the whole season they haven't been calling that foul.
No.
They haven't
We're
been
talking
calling
about this game. Why did they call a foul a foul?
The question is no. Here's my question. Let me tell you what the question is. Don't tell me what my question is. Let me tell you what the question is.
How did they call a foul a foul?
It was a foul. No one's arguing. It was a foul. Everybody said that was a foul.
End of story.
Right? That's not the end of the story. The controversy is they haven't been calling that particular foul. They haven't been calling anything in the box the whole season. That's why people are saying it's a conspiracy. And I agree. By the way,
so I'm just
your brother agrees with me.
Your
brother agrees with me.
You're telling me there's a foul where a defender puts his hand across the face of the goalkeeper in
Yes,
the exact same
yes,
fashion, stops him from
yes,
driving, pulls his hand
yes,
down.
yes.
Can we post the picture of
Arsenal
that
versus
on
Arsenal.
the
Yeah,
stream?
I'll show you. I'll show you. I really
The
will send you. I really
exact
will send you.
same thing. The exact same thing.
Yes, Arsenal versus
Frame
Arsenal
for
versus.
frame.
Let me.
Frame for
Hey,
frame.
look, nothing's exactly the same. But come
Because
on, don't be
then it's the same
ridiculous.
foul.
Don't
Then
be
it's the same foul,
ridiculous.
and
Don't be
they're
ridiculous.
being inconsistent.
Arsenal.
But
I'm
if
actually gonna look it up. Arsenal.
please do. But
Uh.
but my point
Uh.
is, you're always going to find
Uh.
patterns where there are no patterns. Human
Corner.
beings always look for patterns
Not.
where they don't exist, right? That's part of our DNA. We're looking for patterns. We're trying to survive. We're creatures of habit. We're trying to survive. You then find patterns where they don't exist. So here's my 2 cents. Let's be smarter than our DNA and say this is what's happening in the moment, as opposed to being like, there's a pattern here.
Oh
And
my
those patterns
gosh, bro.
either go with us or
Oh
against
my
us.
gosh.
A foul was called a foul at the end of the game in the penalty box.
Let
End
me
of
see. Let
story.
me see. Let me see.
End of
Okay,
story.
here's one. Here's
I'd
one.
be
Here's one.
pissed.
Here's one. Here's one. Here's one. I just show you one. Just one
Let's see.
off the
Let's see.
bat.
Let's see.
Okay,
Because you
cool.
also should have a list of the ones that have been called, right? I'm clearly you're being
There have been
objective
none
here.
that have been. There have been none that have been called. There have been none that have been
That you
called. They haven't been
have
calling them at all.
evidence of.
Look,
Objectivity.
dude, come
We're
on,
trying to
bro.
be objective here. We're trying
Where
to
is
be
it? Where
objective
is it?
here,
Where is it? Where
Simba.
is it? Where 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 is it?
Hmm? If we're gonna be
Mm,
if we're
Oh,
gonna
there
be
we go.
conscientious,
Okay. I'm gonna. Hopefully it
we have to
works.
show both
Hopefully it
sides.
works.
Entity. We have to show both
Hopefully it
sides. What
works.
if the ones have been called, the ones that haven't?
He's literally punching Sao Pedro. Literally punching him.
Simba, let's go
Anyway,
back to your old goalkeeper. Who was your old goalkeeper that punched the guy, nearly made him concussed? What was his name?
so
You got
so
rid
so
of
so
him
so
last
so.
season. You
It's
got rid of
like
him
he's
last.
literally
What was his
punching
name?
Sao Pedro. Like he's literally punching Sao Pedro, bro. And that's not cold. But even you saw that, you started laughing. You saw that, bro. You come on. You
Simba,
cannot deny this. There is something.
Simba.
There's a
There was a game.
conspiracy.
There was a game. There was a game where Stach was going in on goal. Right. The keeper saved the ball, but the player fouled him in the box. Right. He had to go off. He was off for 2 months. Right.
Yeah, I
And
remember.
all
I
the
remember that game.
pundits were saying, right, if that would have been a foul in the run of play, it was against West Ham actually, and they were saying if that would have been a foul in the middle of the game, like on the field, why was it not a foul? Why was it not a penalty on the pitch? Right. My point is inconsistency is there. It's inherent
But you
in
keep
human
on.
thing. It's inherent.
You keep on
in
taking me
human.
to the overall refereeing decisions. I'm not talking about that. I agree with you. When you're talking about inconsistent calls, the hair pulling, the fouls, all that. Yes, I agree with that, but we're not in disagreement there.
This is no
I'm talking
different from
about
that.
this specific thing.
Simba,
This specific thing that
how
I
can
just
this
showed
be?
you. You asked me to show you. I just gave you evidence of literally the Arsenal keeper punching João Pedro in the face.
Right,
Literally
right,
punching him in the face.
right.
And that not being called a foul at all. Right? But
Right.
Arsenal are not the only team that's been doing this, right? Man,
Correct.
there's a game where Mateus Cunha literally threw a player into the post. I saw with my own eyes. Literally grabbed him and chucked him into the post. It wasn't called, right? Leeds have covered. Lewin has gotten away with egregious things in the box as well,
Yeah.
for penalties and stuff in corners.
Yeah.
Everybody has been fouling in the penalty box. Literally, so much so that a Premier League team had to hire an MMA coach so that they could survive and not concede, right? An MMA
I'm
coach,
hearing your
right?
point.
So
I'm hearing your point.
that's how
But
much it hasn't been called.
so this is my
Specifically
point.
about that.
So this
If you
is
can
my
answer,
point. So this
I've
is my
read
point. So this is
the
my
point that I've
point.
read you saying is that about the general inconsistencies. Fine, I agree with that. I'm talking about specifically here. They haven't called it at all. Nothing, nada, no. Even when people are
Simba,
being punched in the box, they haven't called it at
Simba,
all. And then the one time they call it is now. The
Simba.
question I'm asking you, Fari,
You're
if you
giving
can't answer this, I
meaning
don't know
to.
why. Why this time? Why this time? That's all I'm asking.
Okay. So you have to actually listen to my answer and not say no, 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 no. My answer is all the photos and the pictures you've just shown me, you've just shown the audience, have been up in the referee's room saying, guys, we're missing these calls. We need to figure out how to get this right. The same pictures of hair pulling was up in the referee thing saying, guys, we need to be better at this. We need to catch this. We need to stamp this out. Because if we don't stamp this out, these MMA fighters are going to keep getting hired by these teams. and now we're basically going to be becoming UFC refs,
ice hockey,
whatever. So when they do actually make a call properly, people are in an uproar, right? When they do make a call properly, people are in an uproar, and it's a no-win situation for these players. So your question is, why did they do it now? Because this is the time when it was spotted. It's a goal-scoring opportunity. They always check goal-scoring opportunities, just like they check offsides. They check fouls on the play. They checked it this time. The guy upstairs deemed that it was a foul. He had the ref go and look at it. They gave it a foul. Same thing that happened with the hair pulling. The one time they call it is the time they do it. There's inconsistency, but what happened is the fourth official saw it. It was sent down to the guy on the field. The guy on the field saw it. He made the same call. It's a goal. It's a no-goal. Here's the thing. I would have preferred that West Ham score. I would have liked the drama of West Ham actually. I have good friends that are West Ham fans and good friends that are Tottenham fans. There's so much drama at the bottom. The reality is that there's inconsistency in refereeing. And what's going to happen is we're going to go to a virtual system where every single corner or every single free kick is going to be
there you go. I think I've heard you, right? I've heard you. And again, you're not answering my question, right?
I'm not answering the way you want me to answer it. Yeah.
I don't know, because you keep on bringing in the whole match, the whole field, the hair pulling, all that stuff, right? They've caught some of those, they haven't caught some of them, right? The Stark foul, they've caught some of them, they haven't caught some of them, right? The other things that have been inconsistent, they've caught some of them, they haven't caught some of them. So in terms of inconsistency, I agree with you, buddy, 100%. We're in the same boat.
Yeah.
Can we lay that to bed? We'll lay that to bed. I agree.
Just like this call today, just like the call that we're talking about.
It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. It's not about consistency.
Why is it not the same thing?
Let me explain.
It's inconsistent.
Because no, it's not. Do you know why? Because they have been very consistent about opponents. They've been extremely consistent. So much so that I've complained about it over and over and over. So much so that even when someone is punched, right? And by the way, Arsenal scored a goal from that punch in João Pedro's face. They punched him in the face, and then Arsenal scored a goal. It was reviewed. They said, nah, nothing. The Declan Rice one, Arsenal scored a goal, right? They said, nah, nothing, right? The one where Cunha threw someone in the post, right? When Cunha threw someone in the post, they scored a goal there. They said, nah, nothing. The one when Calvert-Lewin elbowed somebody in the face, right? They said, nah, nothing. It was a goal. They were all given. The one when Saliba literally fell on the goalkeeper. They said, nah, nothing. It's a goal. They've been giving those. They've been extremely consistent the entire season. They've been extremely consistent, right? They've been extremely consistent, right? The beginning of the season, Arsenal, Gabriel literally holds Biandia's hand. The exact same thing that happened in the West Ham game, he did against the thing. And they've been extremely consistent. The one time they've called it is the West Ham game. So that's where the conspiracy lies, that you've been doing things consistently the entire season. For 37, 36 matches, you've been doing consistently for one way. You said you don't care. That's what literally the excuse has been. We listen to the fans, and this is what the fans want. That's what the head of Howard Webb said, right? And he said it again when he was being asked the same question, because they asked McAlowan asked him the same question. And he said, look, we are in the business of satisfying the fans, and this is what the fans want because we're in England, right? That's the words that the guy said. So then here comes the question. You've been ignoring all of those fouls. Why now? Why this one time? Why now? That's the question that I want answered by side. Not that the erosion is because they haven't been consistent. They've been very consistent. Why are they now? Why
you're still looking at this as, I will never give you a satisfactory answer, because here's the thing. There are going to be calls that you will struggle to find where they call the foul on the goalkeeper, right? They've been there, right? That there have been fouls on the goalkeeper, right? In the box. They've made those calls. So if you choose to only pay attention to the ones where they weren't called and negate the ones that were called, this becomes something that happened once in the entire season. And the fact is, it's not. They have called fouls on the goalkeeper this season.
Where a goal has been scored. And
they've called fouls on the goalkeeper this season. I don't have them. And you know what? You don't have them too. Because they've lined up everything that goes against your argument.
Next week, show me. Show me, bro. Show me. And I'm going to do a proper video. I'm going to line up 20, 30, 50, 60 of these items that are happening from all these teams. And then you bring me the one time or whatever, the 2 times. Anyway, look.
For patterns. You're looking for patterns.
It's a conspiracy. It's a conspiracy. So,
Internet, help me out.
NBA,
Internet,
bro.
help me out here. Internet, help
Please,
me out.
help us out. But I'm sorry, I'm not buying it. So, let's move on to the FA Cup final. I know you might be still a bit bittersweet for you because of what happened with Leeds.
No, I mean,
but has Chelsea got any chance? With Liverpool as well, but every Liverpool coach. But yeah, he's had one fluke here. So, if Chelsea got any chance, is it just a foregone conclusion? Are you even going to watch it? What do you think?
I mean, I probably want to watch it just because of also the team got beaten. But like, do Chelsea have a chance? Yes, only because sometimes Manchester City have performances like they had against Everton, where things kind of just come off the rails and you're like, what happened? You're going into a half 1-0 up. Next thing you know, you have to score a last-ditch goal to tie it up. They did that with Everton. They did that with Leeds early in the season to win it, but they did it while they were 2-0 up. We came back 2-2. Phil Foden had to get a 90-something minute goal to save it. Sometimes you get these kinds of performances out of Manchester City. So if I'm talking about percentages, I think it's probably a 70-30, maybe 80-20, probably 70-30 chance. 70% they win, 30% they fail. In terms of what Chelsea's going to bring to it, they're going to hopefully play like they played against Leeds. The difference in that game, in my opinion, was that we made a mistake at the end and they capitalized. We don't have the kind of firepower that Manchester City does. And after just watching Manchester City B team play against Crystal Palace, I think across the board, I think they should dominate. I think it should be an easy victory for Manchester City. But I do have a little bit of apprehension because of what they've shown this season, where they have this weird tendency to have odd results that they shouldn't have. You know, had they not given up the draw to Everton, their odds they would have been clear odds of winning the title at this point. But they had a weird game all of a sudden when they were up 1-0, and they go and they turn it into easy dominating, and then they made one or two issues defensively. And it turned the whole game on its head. So João Pedro, who we're just talking about, could maybe get, if they make a defense on the back, that's what they did to us. They scored against Leeds when Struijk made a mistake. It's possible. But in terms of run of form, in terms of caliber of coaches, in terms of performance of the players recently, in terms of synergy of the team, this should be an easy win for Manchester City.
Don't denigrate Callum McFarlane, bro. He's sleeping. He's a sleeper cell.
Never McFarlane.
I'm sorry, Mitch. I don't know how you give them 20%, bro. I'm giving them 5%. I don't know where your 20 is coming from, bro. I'm giving them 5%, and that 5% is if the goalkeeper Donnarumma has an absolute nightmare in goal. Or is it? Will they play Trafford? I think you play Trafford, right? Probably play Trafford, right?
I'll probably play Trafford.
If Trafford if he plays Trafford has an absolute nightmare in goal, that is the only way I see Chelsea winning this game. Right? If Trafford has an absolute nightmare in goal, and then Doku, Semenya, Haaland just like fall asleep, they can't. They're wearing shades like you are wearing shades. You know what I'm saying? The Chelsea defense is atrocious. That midfield, besides Caicedo, is useless. Cole Palmer is not the person that he used to be, or I think he never was that person. João Pedro is the only shining star.
That's a bit harsh.
Name me a game where Cole Palmer has shown against the big teams. One game. I'm waiting, right?
I'm talking.
Cole Palmer against the big teams, he doesn't perform. Even when he was on form, even when he was playing well, right? Cole Palmer, even when at the pop and when he scored 20 goals a season, which he did once, right? That season, even at that time, he didn't score against Arsenal. He didn't score against Chelsea. He didn't score against Manchester United. He didn't score against Manchester City. He didn't score against the big teams. He just doesn't perform against the big teams. It's like Raheem Sterling, when he was at Man City. He used to bang against everyone, bro. But he never scored against Manchester United. Not one goal. Not one. Right? Aguero is a guy who, no matter what, coming off an injury, even if he's on one leg, even if he's on crutches, he always scored against Manchester United. Always. He always scored in the big games, right? Aguero. Haaland scores against us often, right? So they're big game players, and then they so for you Chelsea, João Pedro, fine, he's dope. They've got a suicide goalkeeper, a goalkeeper who just wants to commit suicide all the time. Sanchez, my God, and that guy is still a Premiership. Although now they've been playing Jurgensen, right? They've been playing Jurgensen most recently. So for me, I don't know how you give them 20%. I give them 5%, and that 5%, I'm uncomfortable giving them 5%. I wanted to say 1 or 2%, but we've got more Chelsea fans than we do have Man City fans.
Well, here's the thing. My 20% comes more from Chelsea. I'm not giving that 20% to. Sorry, it comes from Manchester City more so than giving it to Chelsea because they've proven that they can blow games. So it's more so, do they implode? Do they have a howler of a game?
My counter to that is that Everton
City have.
Everton for me right now is a better team than Chelsea are, right? I think if you look outside of, for me, like if they take Burnley and Wolves out of it because they're just given up, right? I think West Ham is better than Chelsea. If Chelsea was to play West Ham right now, they'd lose. I think Tottenham is.
Well, Chelsea plays Tottenham. Tottenham.
So I think Tottenham is out
this weekend,
right? Tottenham
this weekend,
Tottenham
right?
is
this weekend is going to be a huge game.
Next weekend, FA Cup final this weekend, isn't it?
Is it this weekend? Oh, I thought there's Premier League this weekend, and then it's after that. I thought it's later.
Wait, FA Cup final. Oh, I remember we're talking nonsense. Yeah, 16th May. Yeah, it's this weekend.
Oh, okay. All right.
On Saturday, 16th
I thought it was
May
after this weekend.
No, it's this weekend. That's why I was asking whether you're gonna watch it. So for me, look, I think we can swiftly move on. A quick question: Callum McFarlane, if he wins the FA Cup, does he keep the job?
I'm not even going to warrant that with an answer.
Oh, right. Okay. So, just for your own information, Xabi Alonso is in apparently deeper talks with Chelsea. So it looks like Xabi Alonso is going to be the manager for Chelsea, right? So it's going to be a nightmare, really. Man City are going to be better next season, 100%. Because now imagine Semenyo and them guys more embedded, and they're going to add Elliot Anderson to that midfield, right? They're going to add Elliot Anderson to that midfield. And other players, right? Bernardo Silva, they're probably going to lose John Stones, but they're probably going to buy another defender, and they're going to buy Elliot Anderson is coming to that team. Yeah. That team's going to be stacked next season. Arsenal, if they win a Liga, a cup or something, they're going to be just more confident and better next season, and they're probably going to add a striker or a winger to that team as well. There've been loads of rumors of like wingers and stuff coming to Arsenal, right? Chelsea under Xabi Alonso obviously going to be better. Aston Villa, I think, with another transfer window, especially if they won the Europa, they're going to be better. At Tottenham, you have to say if Tottenham survived under De Zerbi, they looked like the last game they played against you guys.
If they're healthy,
they actually looked good. Right? They actually looked good. And that overhead kick from Tao was just bruh. Your penalty box, bruh. Come on, bruh. I mean,
I know.
That's the time that gets people relegated, bruh. Anyway. It's just so dumb, like unnecessary and dumb. But anyway,
I know.
After an amazing,
I don't know how they didn't call that on the pitch. I don't know how they didn't call that on the pitch. They should have called that right there and then. Inconsistency, but anyway, carry on.
Terrible referee. That's an easy penalty, bro. I was like, this is an easy penalty, bro.
Seriously.
And so I think Tottenham next is going to be better. I have no hope for Manchester United, and of course I got no hope for Liverpool. I think those two teams, they're going to be going down. Because I think Slot is going to, I don't care who's fit next season. Slot is not a good coach. And I think Carrick is going to struggle next season as well. So
I think the top six next season are going to be, it's going to be Arsenal, Manchester United, Manchester City. I think if Xavi does come, Chelsea gets in there.
Villa,
I don't know if they figured out Villa. I think there's a chance that they come back next year, but I think with a strong Chelsea, with a reinvigorated Tottenham, with maybe a Manchester United that's better tooled, I think a Villa kind of comes out of that top 6 window. I think they kind of move back. I agree with you. Liverpool are going to be mid-table. They're going to be inconsequential in the upper echelon of the league. And I think the longer they carry with Slot, the longer that's going to happen. And I don't know. It's interesting to see where Areola goes. If he does go to Crystal Palace, like what that does to Crystal Palace. Because I think they'll still be on the same kind of... I think they could come up...
Do you think he'll go to Crystal Palace still? Do you think he'll go to
That's
Crystal
the
Palace?
rumor. And to be honest,
for me, it makes no sense.
More of a lateral
move. Is that a step down? Is that like a step down rather than a step
I think
up?
it's a lateral move, because
so why leave Bournemouth then? Why leave Bournemouth?
I think must be managerial, like conflict with some people, in-house stuff. Same thing with Glasner. Why leave Crystal Palace?
Oh no, Glasner, I understand why he left Crystal Palace. They treated him like garbage, bro.
That's what I'm saying.
They sold his captain. They sold his captain literally, and then they phoned him. Dude, you should hear. Look, you should just go on YouTube, type Oliver Glasner press conference, right? He is the most entertaining guy you'll see. He literally just like this. I've never seen such like he said. I've never seen a club run like this. I've been coaching for decades, and I've never seen such nonsense. Look, they literally said to him, right? This thank you, LC, for the like. Thank you, LC. Yeah. So what they did, right, is they what's his name? Gay, right? They said to him, look, we're not gonna sell Gay. Gay is part of what we're selling him. And then they give him a call. He's prepared, and he's a captain, by the way, of the team. Captain of the team. They prepared to play on. They're going to play Sunderland. They're going to play Sunderland on the Saturday. And then the Friday night, they call him and say, look, we're selling Gay. This is the last show. They sold Eze, they sold Olise. I mean, they just sell all of his best players, and they don't involve him at all. So he was treated like garbage. That's why he wanted to leave. He wasn't interested. He was not.
Can we just point out the
fact,
the kind of players that Vieira had at that team? Like Vieira had he been given a bit more, whatever. It's like he had Eze, he had Olise, he had Gehi, he had. There are so many like that team was stacked, like pure talent, and now these guys are coming, household names. But it's like, man, can a black coach get a little bit more time?
Yeah, like if like it's egregious the way they shouldn't have
Rosinho. No, I'm playing. But I still feel bad for the guy. Come on, even though he's light skinned, I feel bad. He didn't
go to Crystal Palace. Come on, don't be racist.
He's not coming back in the league. There's nothing. I'm saying light skinned people have it different. Let me just say.
No,
we know that to be true, Simba.
It's not true at all, bro. It's not true at all.
It's very true.
It's not true at all, bro.
I've known you for most of my life, bro. You know it's true, Simba.
It's not true at all, bro. It's not true. Moving on swiftly from that. Moving on swiftly from that situation. So the NBA playoffs, right?
Cleveland.
I didn't get to watch the Cleveland Detroit one. Game 3, right? I just saw that Donovan Mitchell went off, right? We had a great game, right?
So Pistons were up 9 points with 2 minutes to go, and they blew it. They won the OT. They got into OT, and then in OT they just weren't making good calls. I mean, again, I think I said this that this series was the most likely to go to
7 games.
The 7 games, and unless the Pistons figure it out tomorrow, or day after tomorrow your time, they could cut it short, because now it's 3-2, but they were up 2-0, something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, this is going to be a huge collapse for the Pistons, but it also just shows how
immature
weak the East are, the East in general. Now, the question I have is the long delay going to work against the Knicks? Because I've seen that happen where you sit for too long, and OKC, I don't think so because they're just so good. But it's like now these guys have to sit for another potentially 2 games, for the Knicks. So the question becomes: is sitting 2 games going to work against the Knicks, who were dominant over the 76ers, or is it going to give them more time to strategize? I prefer when my team goes straight into the next series and keeps its momentum. I think this will work against the Knicks, especially if Cleveland keep this momentum going. Harden starts contributing the way he's been contributing. People off the bench. Donovan Mitchell keeps balling out. The bench getting 20 points here, 30 points there. Strus, again, the guy's name is Strus, whatever, scoring 20-something. I mean, like, this is what you don't want if you're a Knicks fan, because it's like this team is getting hot at the right time. If you're a Cleveland fan, you're like, okay, keep coming with it. You know what I'm saying? As Donovan Mitchell saying, I got you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, basketball is about rhythm, right? It's about rhythm, right? So I think you're right that if you're not like but we'll see, man. I mean, that's why it's 7 games, right? So even if the first game you're gonna lose because the rust, you have to like work off the rust. I think the Knicks are good enough to beat Cleveland.
So, what are your thoughts
really, really good.
on 7? Because we come from sports where it's usually
It's
one
one game
game.
and it's done.
Right? What are your thoughts on the
I think
7 games?
I think it works in basketball
Playoffs.
because I think I think in basketball it works because in basketball you can just have a bad because there's a lot of rhythm in basketball, right? So you can just have an off night, and I don't think that should be it can be so detrimental if you're a star player because basketball it's really individual centric, right? Of course, there's team play, defense, and all that stuff. But for instance, if Jalen Brunson does not have a good game, Knicks are dead. If Luka Doncic doesn't have a good game, Lakers are dead. You know what I'm saying? If Jalen Brown doesn't have a good game, Celtics are dead. You know what I'm saying? And so it's reliant
if Bruno Fernandes has a bad game, Manchester United are dead, right?
Yeah, but Casemiro can score a corner. They can still defend very well. It can be like a 1-0 sneak game. Because basketball you have to score so many times, right? You have to score so many times, right? Whereas in football or rugby or American football, right? Elsie says, Farai, what team do you support?
Leeds United. The only reason me and Simba can talk about Manchester United is because we're friends. We've known each other before these clubs. Otherwise, we'd be on opposite ends. You know what we call you guys, right? I can't say it on. We have a name for Manchester.
The War of the Roses. The War of the Roses.
But friendship is greater than friendship is greater than that.
It is. She says boo.
It's okay. It's ball. Thick skin, guys. This is some thick skin here, guys. Huh? No, it's good. It's good. We must get more people that have differing opinions.
She's a Chelsea fan. I didn't know you're a Chelsea fan. My bad. Yo, Chelsea, what happened there, bro? Your brother supports Real Madrid. At least he's better.
Is she a McFarlane fan?
Oh, yeah. FA Cup final. What do you think? Do you think you guys are going to win? Because I give you a 2% chance, but Faisal gives you guys 20%. I think you guys have got no hope. Zero hope of winning.
A real fan will say gives you guys 20%. I mean, if she says they're not going to win.
She's more sensible, I think. She's more sensible.
Let's talk. We should talk about how Edby from my father is from Mavuk. That's where my dad grew up, Mavuk. Shout out to all the guys from Mavuko High. My dad was a head boy, Mavuko High. Shout out to all the Mavuko.
Yeah, I said this to my dad. It's weird, bro. That's so weird about it. You know that we have the same rural area, right?
Yeah.
Mashingo, same place, right? And we never talked about this in high school, by the way. And then our fathers grew up in the same neighborhood as well. My valley was just in Tafara, just next to Mavuko.
Yeah.
Like literally, how weird is that, bro? How weird is
that? Because they went to good school, they went to college, and they said, that's good talk. We're not going back, But that was the place that made them. Like for me, I was like, why did you take us to Mavuko more often? We still have people there, but it's like, you wanted me to go to Peter House and this.
My uncle's got a bar there now.
So
my uncle's got a bar there.
For Chelsea fans, I say, yeah.
I said this, we win it.
Okay.
LCI.
Shout out. That's a real fan. So, as African sports fan, I can see why Africans would be Chelsea fans. Because if we're looking at a team in the league that has represented great African players, I think Chelsea probably has one of the best, if not the best in the Premier League that they've had. No, Drogba. Essien was my number two. But yes, between those two players, I can see why the Blues can have a fan base as strong as it is. Because if you look at Manchester United, if you look at like Liverpool, to be honest,
Quinton Fortune.
I'm talking about like
Quinton Fortune was a star, bro. He was deep, bro. He's a legend. Maybe you, okay. Whatever. Leeds had Lucas Radebe.
Yes.
You guys had Lucas Radebe, and then you had Yakubu.
Tony Yaboa.
Yaboa was Tony Yaboa was one of my favorite players ever to play in the Premiership. But Lucas Radebe is literally a legend of African football.
Yes, he literally is a legend in Leeds. Like when you go there. So why are people supporting Liverpool who they had with Bruce Grobbelaar? I don't know who else.
Bruce Grobbelaar.
you know.
No, there's Salif Jof, there's Elaf Jof, there's Titi Kamara.
Season or two.
Titi
But
Kamara,
I'm talking about the team legends. Team legends. Chelsea team legends.
Forget Mo Salah. And Sadio Mane. Dude, what are you saying, bro?
I can give. Yeah. But here's the thing. Let's be real.
What do you say about Mo Salah? Come on, be racist. Be racist. Come on. What do you say about Mo Salah?
About it. Mo Salah is great, but Mo Salah wasn't
he's one of the greatest Africans ever to play.
He was at Chelsea before he
was. He's a Liverpool legend. Come on, bro.
I'm just saying. He was somewhere else before. Here's my point, though.
This is we're ancient folks. We're ancient folks.
Manchester. We are kind of. Look at these grays. This is not makeup. This is real. All I'm saying is, if there was a club in English football that can say their legends are Africans, Chelsea is probably top of that list.
Chelsea. Right? I say Chelsea and Bolton Wanderers with JJ Okocha, right?
Yeah.
For the club, right? For the club.
Yeah.
For the club.
Well, yes, so, exactly. Like legendary.
Their best player ever, I think, JJ Okocha at Bolton Wanderers. And then you're right. I think Drogba is probably Chelsea's greatest player ever.
He was the best player in the league, and for their franchise ever, right? For their team.
Yeah. There were seasons when Drogba was the best player in the league.
So I'm surprised that they're not more African Chelsea fans. We get Elsie. Thank you for coming. And now you're talking. Anyway, moving on.
There are quite a few. But look, don't denigrate. Quinton Fortune Fast. Look, he's not the greatest player ever to play for Manchester United. He's not, but he was a good player. He was a good player for us.
Because arguably, Drogba is top 3 ever to play for Chelsea, right?
Yeah.
Your top 3 does not have an African. Like most of the big teams, top 3 don't have Africans. So
no. Except for Liverpool. Liverpool. Salah with Liverpool.
Of all time, top 3?
Yeah.
We're talking about Ian Rush days. We're talking about top 3 of their franchise. Salah.
Yeah, Salah.
Salah, Mane combined, maybe, but Salah by himself?
Mohamed Salah, bro. Look, he scored like probably the most. He scored like 50 Champions League goals. The most Champions League goals by an African. Salah holds the record, and he scored them all for Liverpool. He's got look. He's a legend, bro. He's an absolute legend, bro. He's the only 3 players ever to win twice Player of the Year, right? A Player of the Year twice. I think it's Nemanja Vidic, Thierry Henry, and Mo Salah, right? These are the only 3, right? What else? And there's so many things he's broken, brother, and there's so many records he's broken. So many.
I don't know if you can undisputedly say he's the top 3 player in Liverpool's history.
But it's arguable.
You can easily say that
Kenny Dalglish,
top. You can easily say
John Barnes, Ian Rush.
You can easily say, who's the midfielder? What's his name? Who's a coach now?
Lampard.
No. For Liverpool. What's his name?
For Liverpool, Steven Gerrard. Steven Gerrard. So he didn't win the league.
No, but he's arguably one of the best players. He's top 3.
He's not top 3. He's not top 3.
Simba. Can we get a Liverpool fan here, please? You're telling me
he didn't win the league. He didn't win the league, bro.
I'm talking about your franchise. I'm talking about in the history of your team. You're telling me he's not a top 3 player for Liverpool? No. Steven Gerrard.
I take Salah over Steven Gerrard.
Elsie, can you please help me? Yes, I need somebody else's opinion here. You're telling me Steven Gerrard is not a top 3 guy for Liverpool.
Look, if you're gonna say Salah is arguable, right? Because look, Kenny Dalglish, Ian Rush,
Steven Gerrard. You don't have to like it, but it's true.
I don't like him.
Drogba. Is there any debate? The Drogba?
Yeah, Drogba, Frank Lampard, John Terry.
Yeah, is there any debate that he is in the top 3? No.
No.
Essien could be maybe top 5, right? He's right there, but I'm talking about in terms of the franchise. Top 10 for sure. Yeah, I'd say maybe even top 5. Yeah, but maybe that's arguable. Anyway,
Peter Cech, John Terry.
I mean, there's a list.
Lampard, Drogba. Yeah, there's quite a lot.
The team is nothing without Drogba. Let's be real.
Makelele. Forget about Makelele. Desai, Frank Leboeuf,
Desai.
Zola. How can you forget Zola, bro? Zola, Hazard, Eden Hazard.
And when he played well, yeah. I still think Drogba is top 3, and he's African.
Okay, cool. We'll give you that. Look, yeah, for sure. But Arsenal as well. Arsenal had quite a lot of Africans, man. Loads of Africans.
Top 3.
Arsenal is the only team.
Ian Wright is number 1, hands down.
No, he's not.
Right?
No, he's not.
In top 3?
Ian Wright.
He's easily top 3. Ian Wright.
No, he's not. Thierry Henry. You never heard of that guy?
Ian Wright. Of course I've heard of that guy, but here's the thing.
Patrick Vieira. You never heard of that guy?
Those guys do not exist.
Robert Pires.
What Ian Wright did for black footballers in the United Kingdom cannot be quantified into like whatever. Ian Wright. My dad is. Okay,
now you're being political. We're talking about pure. Now you're being political. Okay, we're not talking about politics here. Okay, in terms of best players,
legends.
Tony
of
Adams.
The team. Legends.
Tony Adams. Tony Adams is a bigger legend than Ian Wright. Tony Adams, right? Thierry Henry is a bigger. Thierry Henry is arguably the best player ever to play in the Premier League, right? And then we're talking about Patrick Vieira.
Definitely the top. Vieira.
Yeah.
Thierry Henry.
Those 3 are taking. David Seaman.
I'm taking the first 2 spots. David Seaman. He led in that goal from a 16-year-old Wayne Rooney.
For England.
A 16-year-old Wayne Rooney.
Straight loads of people, bro. Straight loads of people, bro. He straight loads of people, bro. I don't agree with you there. I'm sorry, I don't agree with you there. I think Arsenal's top 3, off the top of my head, Ian Wright doesn't make it in the top 5, bro.
Wow.
He's struggling to be top 10.
Oh,
dude, Arsenal went unbeaten, bro.
We need some Arsenal fans in this thread. We need some Arsenal fans in this thread.
Yeah, look at that, buddy. Huh? No, Salah number 3. No.
Top 5.
Take that in your. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Thank you, my sister. Wow, keeping in the time, bro. Wow, thank you, my sister.
No, good job.
No. But there's so many great players, man. But look, yeah, it is what it is.
Thierry Henry,
Ian Wright,
1-2 or 2-1, whatever you want to order. But yes, we need
Patrick Vieira is a better legend. Tony Adams, right? David Seaman, Thierry Henry, bro. And I'm forgetting players. Sol Campbell.
Maybe but Sol came from the Spurs and he went to. He's a bit more.
Ashley Cole.
Ashley Cole, yeah. I still think Ian Wright bumps him out. Vieira, Thierry Henry, Ian Wright. I could see those 3. Yeah, please. Let's get these Arsenal fans out here. Because you guys are supposed to win the league and now you're non-existent. Come on, guys. Huh? Ian Wright.
Arsenal fans are gonna win. Arsenal gonna win the league. Okay, fine. Okay. I don't know. I don't think so.
Here's the thing about now's the time, right? Because they're pretty much destined to win this. Let me not curse them, but they're destined to win the league for the first time in a long time. Now is the time for you to put a video out and ask these African sports fans top 3 Arsenal players of all time.
Okay. Well, you can do it.
Let's put that out.
Do it and then just do it.
No, I don't have the fan base you do. Top 3
I'll put it on the channel.
I'll put it on the channel. My list right now that I'm putting it out.
Yeah.
Ian Wright, Thierry Henry, and then for me, Vieira. And I mean, here's the thing: it's hard because those 2, Thierry and Vieira, were in the era that we watched, right? So I'm missing people, but I think those 3. I think Ian Wright and Thierry Henry are easily in the top 3. Vieira, I think, could be a bit dicey, but that's my top 3. In the order of it can be switched around.
Thierry Henry, number 1. Tony Adams, right? And then I'll say Patrick Vieira. Those are the 3, my top 3. Right.
All right. We put the challenge out.
But I could put David Seaman in there. I could put Sol Campbell in there as well. Martin Keown is always part of as well. I think Martin Keown is a big part of the history.
So when this segment gets chop for this section, we'll see.
Fabregas, I'll chop it.
Fabregas was.
Yeah. And then your top 3 for Chelsea, what? Drogba, Lampard, and who?
Zola. I think Zola. Number one would be obviously Drogba, Zola, and number three. I mean, Lampard was good for them, but was he? I think Lampard
How
was
can you put up
squeaking,
John
but he's
Terry? How can you not put John Terry,
John
bro?
Terry. John Terry. No,
John Terry had to be there, bro.
he was huge, but I again, like I'm thinking,
And he was ever
I don't
present.
see him. I don't see him as. I think Zola, Drogba, Zola, Lampard would be my top three.
John Terry,
Lampard is a bit.
Frank Lampard, and Didier Drogba. Those are the three for me.
Wow, so Zola doesn't
Those are
make your
three for
list.
me.
Wow.
No, it doesn't.
Gianfranco.
It's tough though. It's tough.
Wow.
Chelsea, who's your top three? Who's your top three? And then for Liverpool, Liverpool got a long history though.
Hey, Liverpool. Here's the thing, I'm not too, but I think Steven Gerrard for sure. I've said that. Steven Gerrard. I think, we're going back to the days when we were young kids. I think Rush, Ian Rush. And then the third place, I think, I mean, Salah has to be up there. I don't know if he's quite third. I don't know the history of Liverpool as well, but I definitely put.
Mine would be Mo Salah, Kenny Dalglish, right?
Mhm.
And Kenny Dalglish and John Barnes. Those are my top three.
Okay.
Top three.
Manchester United. Yeah.
I think that's easy. Cantona, Giggs, and Wayne Rooney.
Wow. Cantona, Giggs, and Wayne Rooney.
Yep.
Cantona. This is going to be controversial, but Schmeichel. Because I don't think you have the era that you had with them without Schmeichel. And Ronaldo, like Ronaldo in his prime was just something special for that team. And I think he's going to go down as one of their biggest legends.
Ronaldo is the best player to ever play for Manchester United. Hands down, right? Hands down. Ronaldo is the best player to ever play. But I think like in terms of like for the actual club, Wayne Rooney is the top goal scorer of all time, right? Top goal scorer of all time, right? I think he's in the top 5 in terms of assists as well. He played for over 10 years for the club.
I think
Rooney. Yeah. Wayne Rooney was great. Ryan Giggs, played forever. He's won like 13 league titles, right? For Manchester United. Ryan Giggs has been amazing, right? And then Eric Cantona changed the club. Like when he came to the club, he changed. He brought that bravado. He was the key piece. You're from Leeds, by the way.
Yeah, I know. I didn't want to talk about that.
He was the key signing that really stitched everything, that brought us into the new era, into the Alex Ferguson era. So for that, I think that he is the guy who ushered in the greatest era in history, in the football history, right? So I would put him there just for that alone, but also that he was also a great player. But the best, most talented player to ever play for us, of course, is Ronaldo. He's the greatest player to ever. He won the Ballon d'Or at Manchester United, so he's the greatest, right? But I don't think he was only at Manchester United for 5 years, around there. So he wasn't there long enough. And he was only excellent for 3 years. He only had 3 excellent seasons for us. Because I think the first 2 years he was a teenager.
I agree with you, but as coming from, he's part of the division that we have with Manchester United, stealing Cantona from us.
We stole loads of players. Rio Ferdinand.
Yes,
we stole Rio Ferdinand. We stole Cantona. We stole Alan Smith.
The one that hurt.
Alan Smith.
We don't really care about that. We care about Cantona. Cantona was the one that, like,
wasn't he your youth player?
Yeah, but we can live with that. Cantona was the one that really started the divisions. Like,
Elsie says that Drogba, Lampard, and Zola.
She agrees with me.
Right?
She agrees with me.
And they said, but also John Terry.
Top 3. It doesn't qualify, guy. Top 3. 3 is 3. 3 is 3. Top 3, Chet.
Okay. So apart in Leeds, since you're a Leeds fan, we have to put it there.
I think you go legends. Lucas Radebe. Radebe is huge.
Liboya.
I think you go. Liboya is huge, but I'm going lower. I'm going to Gray. Not Archie. Archie's uncle, Andy
Gray. Andy Gray
Yeah,
is an absolute
Andy
legend of the
Gray.
club.
He's
Yeah,
like
absolute
he's like,
legend of the club. Yeah.
and then a legend that's not a player, Bielsa. Like it's kind
No,
of
no, no,
weird, but
no,
like
no, 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 that's a better player.
he alone. Talk about changing a culture.
Yeah.
Bielsa,
Yeah,
Bielsa.
because I can say
Uh,
Ferguson, I can say Busby, but no,
you can.
players. Who's your number
Okay.
three? Who's your number three?
Radebe. One that I like is, I mean, I loved your ball. Like just seeing his highlights and stuff like that.
Ah,
My
but he was
era,
there for
when
too
I
short
was
a
a
time.
kid, yeah, exactly. That's why it doesn't qualify. Um, um, Viduka. Part of the reason I like Leeds is
Mark
because I remember
Viduka.
Mark Viduka
Remember
there.
he scored
He's not
four.
really,
This,
yeah,
he scored four
I
goals in the
remember that.
game once, right? I remember that
Yeah,
game.
yeah, yeah. Legendary. That's when I was like, that was when it peeped into my radar. Leeds, when we were still in high school. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
these guys, you know what I mean?
yeah.
But yeah, I think Gray, I think Radebe. Uh, in the modern era, I'd probably say, you know what, a legend for us, and he's bust now, Calvin Phillips. I think he's gonna go down as one of our greatest of this generation.
Oh,
He's gonna go down as one
Calvin
of them.
Phillips. Yeah,
Yeah,
I would say I agree with you, but I would put in Lucas Redebe. You have to put Andy Gray because Andy Gray is like literally the legend of the
yeah,
club. That's what was put on. And that's Lee Boyer. Lee Boyer is played for such a long time for Leeds.
yeah,
He was a great player for you guys, and he was such a servant for the club as well. So I'll put
yeah,
Lee Boyer there because I would say it's similar like Ryan Giggs, right? James Milner, if he didn't move, would be part of as well, but he moved, right?
yeah.
He was part of
He's
Harry
not ours.
Kewell. Honorable mention Harry
Uh,
Kewell.
Harry Kewell and Leeds do not see eye to eye. There's no love anymore. There's some serious beef there, unreconcilable.
Okay, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool. I got you. Okay. The game that I did watch was San Antonio Spurs versus Minnesota Timberwolves. Right. I did
Mm.
watch that game, and I have to say it was rather disappointing because I wanted to be. I was like, okay, I was hyped, right? Because it was 2-2. I was really hyped. I was like, okay, this is gonna be. And Wemby was injured at the beginning as well.
Yeah.
And first of all, do you think he should have been? Did you watch his elbow like the last game? Should he have been suspended for that?
No, I don't think so. I mean, like when it
Star
wasn't
treatment, I think.
intentional. Yeah, well, I don't think it was intentional per se. Maybe I see the guy as too pure, so I don't think it's intentional. But I don't think there was. Here's the thing: he's not Draymond Green. Like Draymond Green, there's some stuff behind it.
Yeah. That guy
You
is
know what I'm
just
saying?
dirty, bro. That guy is just a dirty player, bro.
Yeah.
Ah, man, he's
So
bad.
that's what
I
I'm saying.
mean, like,
Wemby is clean. Wemby is you give him. He's also the star of the league. The league wants OKC versus San Antonio. I understand why he doesn't. I don't think it was deliberate. Um, it might have hurt, but like he's also his body is he's like a praying mantis, man. Things don't
he's got a
match up
weird body. Yeah?
properly.
He's got a
You
weird,
know what I'm
like,
saying? So
weird
it's
dynamic.
hard to
Yeah,
control all these things.
yeah. No, so the game was one-sided. I mean, like, yeah, like it was a bit of back and forth, but Spurs
Yeah,
looked like going to win from day one. They look very, very
yeah,
confident. Like from just the blow of the whistle, they look like they're going to win. When De'Aaron Fox got the 3-point play in the first play of the game, and from there, just it was just De'Aaron Fox and Wemby, but the way they play off each other, the pick and
hmm,
roll, like if you double Wemby, Fox is always free, and threes and stuff. I mean, it's just they got production off the bench as well. They really look good, right? They look good. I mean, they really look good, as good like that game and game two, right? Game two, like when they were 1-0 down. Game two
hmm,
and game five, they looked as good as OKC, if not better, right?
hmm,
They looked as good, if not better, right?
yeah,
But of course, game four, game one, not so good, right? And they lost those two games, but they didn't look that great. So now they're 3-2 up. It looks like if they keep on playing like this, then it looks pretty comfortable. On Saturday, the two semifinals on Saturday, Cleveland
yeah,
and the thing. So it could be over on Saturday, basically for the
yeah.
for the
Basically,
for the
yeah,
finals. Yeah, it could be
yeah.
over
I
Saturday. Yeah,
think I think one of
but
those teams. I can see Detroit making it, setting it to
I come back.
7 games. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
But I still
yeah.
think Cleveland, the way they've been playing, I think San Antonio, it's theirs. It's theirs to lose at this point. They
Yeah.
could do it, and that would change up our whole script because we've been saying we wanted to see San Antonio versus OKC. Maybe Minnesota can pull two amazing games out of them. I just don't think they have it in them to do
They
it at this
don't. They
stage.
don't. They don't. They don't. But anyway, look, it is gonna be a fascinating final, and I hope Wemby can stay fit, right? We'll see how are they gonna put Chet on him. And they're gonna put what's it? Is it Dort? Who's that? The grim guy, bro? Is it Dort? The guy from OKC, like a really grim guy. But then what's about the Harkenstein as well. And so we'll see how they deal with Wemby, but I don't think you can kind of deal with Wemby at all. So we'll see how they deal with them, and then we'll see how Spurs stop Shea. How they stop Shea. Because we'll see how they do it. So it'll be an interesting defensive match. So you want to talk about Phil Foden? I think we can end up on that one.
Yeah.
Phil Foden.
He was
making a comeback. Do you think that he's just showing enough?
He was part of our conversation 3 shows ago, when at the end of our section saying the media isn't talking about Phil Foden, right? No one's talking about Phil Foden, cha. So I think it's rightful that this media show talks about his performance. I watched it, Now here's the thing: the team was the second team for Manchester City, right? Haaland was on the bench. Czech was on the bench. They were, I think Semenyo was starting up front. You know what I mean? But I watched that game, and Foden was playing. I think we had said it that he needs to come and show a performance and get confidence back. He was playing like a hungry guy. He basically made those last 2 goals, the first 2 goals happen single-handedly. And you can tell there was a hunger that he had, to prove himself. And I think that's, Calvin Phillips, who was at Leeds, went to Manchester City, and he flopped because he didn't have that hunger to prove himself as like, hey, I want to be this guy, Because Pep, he's one of those guys that.
Do you think so? You think it's a lack of hunger?
I think he was.
For me, he's pretty much self-motivated. Because every time he played for Leeds, he was on fire. But it seems to me like Calvin Phillips didn't seem to me like he lacked motivation.
No, I think it's a personality. So I think Pep is the kind of guy who calls you out. I know Xiao did that, and then you'd be like, oh, fine, let me prove myself. He's someone who's like, oh, why are you so soft? You're like, are you sure? Let me show you what I can do, right? That's how he motivates these players. From what I've seen, I don't know if it's true, but that's the sense I get, where he'll badmouth you in front of the press. He calls you out, right? And he expects you to raise to that level. Bielsa with Calvin Phillips was like, young man, I'm taking you under my wing. You're my guy. I've got you. No matter what, I believe in you. I believe in you. I believe in you. That boosted him. That made him, that brought his best football out. So I think he went to a place where the motivation style was not for him, and he floundered. It was too much, and he's like, now my gaffer is here shouting at me saying, hey, I'm getting fat, cha. This is when I had Bielsa, whatever, mentally. And I think he was a kind of a tender. He's a very, he was raised with his mom, like a very tender kind of guy. And I think the pressure kind of got to him.
Okay.
With Foden.
So he's one of those players that needs a hand around the shoulder, basically, right? What you saying?
At least what?
He's one of those players that needs a hand around the shoulder, rather than admonishing.
He's someone who says, no matter what happens, you can come back. I'll be here. I'm here for you. I believe in you no matter what. Whereas
Foden there are players like that.
Was put to the sword, right? Foden was put to the sword by Pep saying, listen, kid,
but
you're not starting on my team. You're not starting on
my
team.
But one swallow does not make a summer. So let's be careful.
No.
One good game doesn't mean that Foden is suddenly back now.
I mean, the question becomes, after a performance like this, you'll probably play, obviously, in the final on Saturday.
He was not.
FA Cup. Well, we'll see, but maybe you'll get some game time. But here's the thing. Does this mean that
he might come off the bench?
Does this mean that he gets called up for England? It's a very...
He was always going to get called up for England. He was always going to get called up
based
for
England.
Based
on what resume?
Based on the fact that if they left him out, Tuchel would be slaughtered by the press, right? Because, look, the number 10 position, right, for England right now, right? And this, I'll tell you right now, right? You got Eze, who should start. He's the informed guy. You got Jude Bellingham, right? You've got Cole Palmer, and then you've got Phil Foden. Well, those are the 4 options, right, that you have at number 10, traditional. Am I missing anybody else?
No, I mean that.
James Maddison is injured.
Mm-hmm.
Maddison is injured, right? So James Maddison not part of. He's injured. Yeah, those are the 4 guys right, that play number 10, the English guys. Mm-hmm. Jude Bellingham, Phil Foden, Eze, and Cole Palmer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think all 4 are going.
Yeah.
All 4 are going. Because here's the thing, right? You can't have Eze as your main number 10. I just don't think they'll do it. I don't know. I think I'm not saying anything. I'm saying for obvious reasons. I don't think, I don't think he'll be the number 10. I don't think he'll be the number 10. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So I think that
what about Bellingham? What about Bellingham? What about Bellingham?
Bellingham is more like me, is
it? See?
Even worse. Now I'm just letting you know. That's my thinking.
Yeah.
Because he's obviously the number. Obviously you'd have Eze is the more informed guy. Bellingham has been injured, although you'd have to take him because Bellingham is better than Eze, but he's been injured, right? Yeah. Cole Palmer and Phil Foden should be on a bus, should be watching on TV. Should be watching TV at cabin. If we're talking about form, right? Actually performing this season. Phil Foden has been useless this season, right? He hasn't even been playing, right? At least Cole Palmer has been playing. He's been garbage but playing, right?
Yeah.
Right? He's been garbage but playing, but that's what should be happening, right? They should be. Else is laughing. But they should be what? Cole Palmer and has been playing, but he has not been playing well for Chelsea. He's not been playing well. He really doesn't deserve to be on the plane, right? So you've got Eze and you've got Jude Bellingham. Jude Bellingham has been in and off in terms of injuries. So obviously Eze is the solution there. But they will never play him. It's never going to happen, right? It's never going to happen. That's for England.
This is USA, man. They could come out here and have a change of heart.
Because look, you're gonna have Saka on the right, for England. Saka on the right. On the left, you're probably gonna have now Rashford, probably, right? Marcus Rashford, right? And then up front you got Harry Kane. Yeah. Literally the Jesus of English football. He can do no wrong, right? The way the way the English have Harry Kane, my gosh, bruv. I saw Harry Kane missing practice once. And Gary Neville was like, nah, there has to be something going on. It's not in his character. And then when it came up that he missed for the exact reason that the press was saying that he missed it, he's like, I still doubt. I think we still have to hear his side of the story. You're like, dude, the guy left because he missed practice because he didn't want to. He wanted to move. He wanted to move to Man City. The move fell through, so he had to come back with the tail between his legs and go back to Tottenham, right? And then he moved the next season to Bayern Munich. But he missed practice. He forced. He was being petulant. And Gary Neville was like, nah, it's impossible. I know him. He would never do that. And that's the attitude that they have for Harry Kane. Harry Kane is the guy could walk on water. So you got Harry Kane, you got Marcus Rashford, and then you've got Bukayo Saka. Those 2 are already enough. You can't have Eze, then Eze. We gotta have the boy wonder surrounded by 4 darkies. I can't see it. I cannot see it. Not for England.
Here's the thing.
Not for England.
You could do it early.
And
you could do it early, or the early rounds, right? The first couple of games, you could put them in there.
It's not about actual ability. It's about aesthetics. So I'm telling you right now, right? So you're gonna have Declan Rice in there, probably Adam Wharton, right? Starting at number 6.
Yeah.
Probably Declan Rice, right? And then those are the other 2.
Wharton,
right?
Wharton is guy. I want to see the World Cup. He could be something.
Because well. Declan Rice is not a number 6, so they won't play him there number 6. They might do Declan Rice and Anderson, maybe, right? They might do those two, right? So you've got Declan Rice and Anderson, which means that Declan Rice has to be a bit more defensive because Anderson is quite, Anderson and Declan Rice kind of play the same position. They want to play the same way. They sort of box-to-box midfielders, right? So maybe you have that. You have Declan Rice and Anderson, right? So you have Eze. Nah, you're gonna have Foden or Jude Bellingham or someone there, and then behind, of course, then at the back 4, I'm not sure what they do because England's back 4, that's the mystery. Because you've got Gay, that's the one guaranteed name. Who else is there? Wow. Centre backs: Colwell, Chalobah, Harry Maguire, who?
You take Maguire.
Ben White.
Ben White.
You take Maguire because of his hitting ability.
I think Ben White is done. He had a serious.
Ben White is out, yeah. So who else do you? Colwell, Chalobah. What else do you take besides Gay? Right.
I don't know.
So that becomes a problem. right? And then left back, the Man City guy, what's his name? 6'2", Man City guy was a form.
Oh, O'Reilly,
right, left back, and then right back, yeah, Reece James is coming back to fitness. Maybe you take him. Maybe you take what's his name? The Tottenham guy. The Tottenham guy. The Tottenham right back. Jed Spence.
Yeah, I could see him making the squad, but
Who else is playing right back? Maybe Lewis Hall on left back. Lewis Hall maybe. But who's making Lewis Potter maybe? Maybe Lewis Potter from Brentford, right back. For who else? Am I missing someone?
No, I don't know. Right, I'm trying to think defensively, which is probably a bigger issue for England, is that
that's the biggest
you can get stacked midfield and offense, but your defense is going to be sus.
Yeah, the defense is in both. Yeah. Calvert-Lewin, Danny Welbeck, do they make it into the squad? Who's the second striker?
I could see Calvert-Lewin getting a nod.
Because Ollie Watkins has been on fire.
I think the question becomes, because basically this is the last chance for probably Calvert-Lewin and for the Brighton guy. So I can see them kind of being, I can see definitely Danny Welbeck, pretty certain that Calvert-Lewin too. If you're looking at someone like a finisher, I could see Calvert-Lewin there, because Calvert-Lewin can get you some scrappy goals. You know, he can finish. I think Danny Welbeck is solid. He doesn't finish as well as Calvert-Lewin. I think Watkins has played well in the past, but he's a different kind of striker to like Calvert-Lewin. You know, you can get twofold. You can get
West Ham guy, Jared Bowen.
No, Bowen has ruined his chances. Bowen, no. I don't see like,
because for me, like Rashford can play after. Rashford can play number 9, right? So you can have Rashford coming, is like sort of moonlighting on that side. I would take, my strikers would be Harry Kane, Danny Welbeck, and Calvert-Lewin, because what Ollie Watkins can do, Rashford can do, right? Because
I know, but you still need a young guy there, because all three of those guys are above 27, 28.
Yeah, but not all three of them are going to get injured, is it? So what I'm saying, what I'm saying
you
is
need a striker that can go 90 minutes plus.
Harry Kane, right? Harry Kane is he kind of comes deep, right? And he's like a finisher, right? And he comes deep as well. Yeah. He's more of like a finesse player, right? And he's got a shindig as well, but he's more a finesse player, right? Calvert-Lewin and Danny Welbeck are your scrappy. Calvert-Lewin is amazing in the air, by the way, as well, right? Yeah. Danny Welbeck is better with his feet, right? But Danny Welbeck is experienced. He's very crafty. He scored loads of goals. I think he's got double figures this season, like 12, 13 goals or something like that, right? So he's in good form. Calvert-Lewin gives you something different in the air. He's very physical. He can rattle people, right? Ollie Watkins gives you speed and running in behind, but so can Rashford do that. So you don't have to take Ollie Watkins. You can just literally, if you want speed in behind the defense, you play Rashford, right? You play Marcus Rashford, and then you play Eze on the left or something, or some other player.
To me, right? I think that it's either or. Calvert-Lewin or Welbeck. I don't think you take both. I think you have to keep Watkins in there, because he's scored some big goals for England, you know, and like he's still going to be the future. Because here's the thing: if you're looking at this World Cup and those three guys,
Watkins is like 30 years old, bro. He's old.
He's still more chance of staying in than Harry Kane, Calvert-Lewin, or like, of the four of those people, who's more likely to be their next World Cup? Yeah, Harry Kane if he stays healthy.
Yeah,
probably Watkins.
I think all four of them. I think all of them won't be there. Ollie Watkins, I think, because because you're talking about when he's 34 or 35. Ollie Watkins does not rely on sublime skill or his touch. He's a pure pace merchant. He runs in behind the defense, right? And so when you're 35, that pace is down, right? So no, he's not going to be there the next World Cup. I don't think so.
But I'm saying, so this is his World Cup to do it, and I just don't think you're going to take 4. I think you have to get a spot for somebody young to come in.
He's and Rashford and Ollie Watkins, don't they do the exact same thing though?
Yeah, but Rashford is blossoming as a winger, right? Like
what I'm saying though, like
to form being a winger.
Kane is your starter, right? He's your starter, right? So even if Ollie Watkins comes, Ollie Watkins is going to be the bench. So you're only going to bring in Ollie Watkins to give you something different to what Kane is giving you, right? And so you can literally just move Rashford to number 9, right? And then bring in someone else on the wing. That's my thinking. anyway, we can agree to disagree. I think we'll take Oliver. I think Oliver Watkins is definitely going. I think the coach will be with you. I think it will be Calvert-Lewin or Danny Welbeck. And I think Calvert-Lewin has finished the season a bit better than Danny Welbeck has. So probably Calvert-Lewin.
And that's the thing. I think he's still playing well, which is why, even we play Brighton. Actually, we play Brighton not this Saturday, the next Saturday. So that's going to be a big kind of like, the two strikers basically on the same field, and it's going to be auditioning. They'll both be auditioning for, their role.
You think so?
Possibly in the World Cup. I could see that being a call.
I think let's end right there. Right? So thank you guys for joining. Elsie, cheers, bro. Sid, yo, my Ghanaian brother. I don't really say it was much into sports, but we'll see. Maybe, now a dad.
Support. We like support. Now, so we like support.
Max mom support. Anyway, so again, tomorrow evening, 10 p.m. I'll be live 10 p.m. +2 GMT. +2 GMT, if you don't know, that is the time zone. So I'll be live again 10 p.m. +2 GMT tomorrow at 10 p.m. Right, and we'll be previewing the FA Cup more in depth. We'll be talking about maybe more of my feelings about Michael Carrick without Parisai making me feel guilty. Right. So tomorrow, I think we'll have Campbell's Jr., Parisai's little brother, and then my little brother Jonathan on. So it probably will be quite a Man United centric podcast or live stream, because since Michael Carrick is about to get announced, maybe we'll look into the transfers, who's going to be coming in, how we can actually build the team.
What time is that my time? I got to figure out.
At 10 p.m. GMT would be.
What time is it there now?
Right now it is 8 o'clock. What time is it now?
So 2 hours from now, 11. So it'll be 1 p.m. my time. All right, Paul.
Yo. Okay, if you're awake.
You guys, no, what Mascati, 1 p.m.
So you'll be working tomorrow. Okay, so holla back. Maybe
tomorrow I might. Oh, maybe we can. Yeah, maybe we can. Maybe we can do a 4-way.
Yeah.
Young against old.
Tell your brother to fix his mic. You need to fix the mic thing.
I will.
Yeah. But anyway, but it'll be fun. It'll be fun. So we can go into more in-depth stuff. And then maybe because the two of you are there, maybe we'll talk a bit more golf, right? More live golf and more like PGA stuff. So we'll talk a bit more golf since the two cameras are there. And so join me tomorrow 10 p.m. GMT. We'll try to get cameras on. We'll see if the junior guy is on, because he's got two girls, so he might be busy. But we'll see.
To make it happen, let's get the four.
But the fact that you're on, I'll text him tonight to see what he said. I'll text him tomorrow morning actually. Okay, so guys, Elsie,
10.
See you, guys.
Wait. 10. Can you? I have a doctor's appointment at 12:30 my time, so I don't know if I'll be done in 30 minutes. Anyway, we'll talk.
Let's take people don't see this. Maybe what you do is when you come back, you join. You come me join.
Yeah,
Maybe I'll make it 10:30. Yeah. Okay. Okay. God bless, guys. Keep it solid. Let us know, guys. Like, subscribe, and also turn on the notification bell, please, so that you know what is happening.
Notification.
Right? And please let us know who your top 3 Arsenal players are. Who your top 3 Chelsea players are, who your top 3, like your favorite club, who are your GOATs, right? And then also as an added bonus, who the top 3 Africans in the Premiership are, the African players ever to play in the Premiership. I still think JJ Okocha is the best African ever to play in the Premiership, followed by Peter Endlove, and then I'd say Lucas Radebe. That's my top 3.
Wow, Drogba doesn't even make the list. Wow,
doesn't make it. Neither does Salah, by the way. JJ Okocha,
you see what's happening?
Lucas Radebe. They say JJ Okocha, Lucas Radebe, and Peter Endlove. Probably I look at Globe. I'm joking. I'll probably put in Drogba in there. Sorry, or Salah. Drogba and Salah are fighting for the last position. Peter Endlove, I'm Endlove. Peter Endlove. And on that bombshell, enjoy.
African sports guy.